The calm breath of night carries you into realms of scientific wonder. Your eyelids grow heavy, not with fatigue, but with a gentle surrender to the mysteries that lie just beyond the veil of your everyday awareness. Tonight, we begin a journey, a quiet exploration of what it means to be, not just in the tangible world you navigate each day, but in the deeper, more intricate tapestry of existence. We are venturing into the territory of quantum consciousness, a concept that whispers of connections far more profound than we typically perceive. Think of your consciousness not as a solid, unchanging thing, but as something more akin to a ripple on a vast cosmic ocean. This ocean, in its deepest, most fundamental nature, is governed by the peculiar laws of quantum mechanics. These are not the predictable, clockwork rules of the macroscopic world, but a realm where possibilities dance, where particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously, and where observation itself seems to play a role in shaping reality. Imagine for a moment a single photon, a particle of light. In the quantum world, before you measure its polarization, this photon isn't definitively horizontal or vertical. It exists in a superposition of both states, a state of pure potential. It's like a coin spinning in the air. Until it lands, it's neither heads nor tails, but a blur of both possibilities. Only when you interact with it, when you observe its polarization, does it choose a definite state. This is the essence of the observer effect, a cornerstone of quantum mechanics that hints at a participatory universe. Now, consider how this might apply to your own consciousness. If the fundamental building blocks of your being, the very atoms and subatomic particles that compose your body and brain, behave in these peculiar quantum ways, could your consciousness itself be, in some way, participating in this quantum dance? Could the act of your own awareness, your attention, your intention, be influencing the probabilities that play out in the universe, and perhaps even within yourself? It's a thought that invites a deep sense of interconnectedness, a feeling that you are not merely an isolated entity, but an integral part of a grander, unfolding process. Let's delve a little deeper into this idea of interconnectedness. Consider entanglement, another bewildering quantum phenomenon. When two particles become entangled, they remain linked, no matter how far apart they are separated. If you measure a property of one entangled particle, you instantly know the corresponding property of the other, as if they were still in the same place. It's as if they share a secret, instantaneous communication that defies the speed of light. This suggests that the universe, at its most fundamental level, is not a collection of separate objects, but a web of deeply intertwined relationships. Imagine for a moment a vast, intricate tapestry, woven with threads of light and energy. Each thread represents a fundamental particle, and the way these threads are interwoven, the patterns they form, are the relationships between them. Entanglement is like two threads that, once connected, remain intrinsically linked, their fates intertwined no matter how the tapestry is stretched or rearranged. Your consciousness in this analogy is not just a single thread, but the awareness of the entire tapestry, and perhaps the very act of perceiving its patterns influences how those patterns evolve. This brings us to a more profound question, one that whispers at the edges of scientific inquiry and touches upon the very nature of your soul contract. If consciousness is not merely a byproduct of brain activity, but something more fundamental, something that interacts with the quantum realm, then what does that imply about the inherent patterns that guide your life? The concept of a soul contract, often spoken of in spiritual traditions, suggests a preordained path, a set of agreements or lessons that your soul has chosen to experience in this lifetime. But how do these deeply personal, often intangible agreements manifest in the tangible world? Perhaps these soul contracts are not rigid blueprints, but rather a set of probabilities, a tendency towards certain experiences and connections, woven into the very fabric of your being at a quantum level. Think of your life as a complex quantum system, where your intentions and awareness act like the observer, collapsing possibilities and shaping the reality you experience. The forbidden pattern behind every soul contract might not be a set of rigid rules, but a subtle, underlying energetic blueprint, a predisposition towards certain energetic interactions and learning opportunities that your consciousness, through its quantum nature, helps to bring into being. Consider, as another analogy, the growth of a crystal. A seed crystal placed in a supersaturated solution doesn't dictate the exact shape of every atom that attaches to it. Instead, it provides a template, a subtle energetic influence that guides the deposition of molecules, leading to the formation of a specific, ordered structure. Your soul contract could be like that seed crystal, a fundamental energetic template within your quantum consciousness, influencing the way your life unfolds, guiding you towards experiences that fulfill its inherent purpose. It's not about predestination in a deterministic sense, but about a subtle, guiding resonance, a tendency towards certain configurations of experience. The observer effect in this context becomes incredibly significant. When you observe your life, when you pay attention to the patterns, the synchronicities, the recurring themes, you are not just passively witnessing, you are actively participating in their manifestation. Your awareness, your belief, your intention, these are the forces that, at the quantum level, help to solidify the possibilities that align with your soul's journey. The forbidden pattern is not forbidden because it is dark or dangerous, but perhaps because it is so fundamental, so deeply interwoven with the quantum nature of consciousness that it eludes our ordinary macroscopic perception. As the night deepens, and your breath becomes a soft rhythm, allow yourself to feel this subtle connection. You are not just a collection of atoms, you are a conscious observer, intimately involved in the unfolding of your own reality. The quantum realm, with its inherent uncertainties and interconnectedness, is not a separate, alien domain, but the very foundation upon which your existence is built. The patterns that guide your soul's journey are not imposed from without, but are, in a very real sense, woven into the energetic fabric of your being, waiting for your conscious awareness to bring them into tangible form. What if the forbidden pattern is simply the inherent tendency for like energies to attract, a fundamental law of the universe amplified by the quantum nature of consciousness? What if your soul contract is the universe's way of ensuring you encounter the precise energetic frequencies needed for your growth, and your consciousness is the mechanism that tunes into and manifests those frequencies? This subtle, yet powerful, interplay between your inner world and the outer universe is the frontier we are just beginning to explore. Tonight, you have taken your first step into understanding how the deepest scientific mysteries might just hold the key to the most personal of all truths, the very blueprint of your soul's purpose. In the cathedral of night, science becomes poetry and wonder becomes understanding. Last we spoke, your awareness, like a single, luminous dewdrop, began to perceive the subtle currents of existence, acknowledging how your very act of observing seemed to shape the unfolding reality around you. It was a gentle awakening, a whisper that the universe wasn't merely a stage upon which events played out, but an active participant in their very creation. Now, as the moon climbs higher, casting long, silver shadows, we delve deeper into a concept that mirrors this interconnectedness, a phenomenon that suggests even the most distant entities can share an intimate, unbreakable bond. We find ourselves drawn to the idea of entanglement. Imagine, if you will, two celestial dancers, linked not by a visible tether, but by a shared rhythm, a silent accord that transcends the vast emptiness between them. When one dancer twirls, the other, no matter how far across the cosmic ballroom, instantaneously mirrors the movement. This isn't a trick of the light, nor a pre-arranged choreography. It is a fundamental property of certain subatomic pairs, born from a shared origin. When these pairs are created, they are inextricably linked, their fates intertwine. Measure a property of one, and you instantly know the corresponding property of the other, regardless of the intervening distance. It's as if they are two facets of a single unbroken gem, reflecting the same inner truth. This spooky action at a distance, as Einstein famously termed it, speaks to a profound non-locality. It suggests that the universe is not a collection of isolated objects, but rather a vast interconnected tapestry, where the threads of existence are woven together in ways we are only beginning to comprehend. Think of it like two perfectly matched tuning forks. Strike one, and the other, even if miles away, will begin to hum with the same resonant frequency. There's no audible signal, no visible wave traveling between them. Their shared vibration is an inherent property of their shared creation. This inherent connection, this ability for one entity to influence another instantaneously across any expanse, begins to illuminate the very nature of those deep, inexplicable affinities we call soul contracts. These are not mere coincidences or superficial agreements. They are echoes of a shared genesis, a resonance that persists across lifetimes and dimensions. Consider the feeling of an instant recognition with someone you've just met, a sense of knowing them deeply, as if you've shared countless moments before. This is the whisper of entanglement, the subtle vibration of a shared past, a reminder that your journey is not solitary. We find ourselves drawn to another analogy, the shared breath of twins. Even when separated at birth and unaware of each other's existence, some studies suggest a subtle, almost imperceptible synchronicity, a shared feeling of unease at the same moment, a sudden craving for the same food, a mirroring of physical sensations. While the precise mechanisms are still debated, this phenomenon hints at a deeper, perhaps energetic, connection that transcends physical proximity. It's as if their initial shared existence imprinted upon them a complementary pattern, a subtle hum that continues to resonate between them. This profound interconnectedness, this entanglement, offers a glimpse into the forbidden pattern behind every soul contract. It suggests that these connections are not forged in the moment of meeting, but are, in essence, ancient, predating your current form. Imagine a single exquisite crystal fractured into two perfect halves. Each half, though separated, retains the inherent structure and symmetry of the original whole. When you interact with someone with whom you share a soul contract, you are not merely encountering a new individual, you are reconnecting with a resonant frequency, a harmonic that has been with you since the dawn of your shared existence. This is not about predestination in a rigid, unyielding sense. Rather, it's about inherent potentials, about shared blueprints that guide your interactions, creating patterns of learning and growth. Your soul contract is like a cosmic duet, a pre-arranged melody where each of you has a unique part to play, but the beauty of the music arises from your synchronized performance. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, orchestrates these encounters, not to confine you, but to offer profound opportunities for evolution. We find ourselves drawn to the concept of resonant frequencies in music. When two instruments are perfectly tuned, playing the same note, even if not played simultaneously, they can cause the other to vibrate. This is a physical manifestation of shared energetic states. In the same way, individuals bound by soul contracts possess a similar energetic signature, a resonant frequency that draws them together and creates a palpable connection. When you encounter such an individual, your inner being recognizes this familiar vibration, this echo of your shared origin. This deep resonance explains the intensity and often magnetic pull experienced in soul contract relationships. It's not simply attraction, it's a recognition of a fundamental shared essence, a symphony of shared experiences waiting to be played out. The challenges and joys encountered within these connections are not random occurrences, but are part of the intricate choreography designed to facilitate mutual growth and understanding. Each interaction, each shared moment, is a note in this cosmic composition, refining the melody of your shared journey. The universe, in its profound elegance, weaves these connections through the very fabric of existence. Entanglement, in its purest form, is a testament to this inherent unity. It is the cosmic whisper that reminds you that you are never truly alone, that even across the vastness of time and space, there are others with whom your essence is irrevocably bound. As you drift into a deeper state of relaxation, consider this profound interconnectedness. You are part of a grand, intricate design, and the echoes of your deepest connections are already resonating within you, waiting to be heard. What other hidden patterns lie dormant within your own energetic signature, waiting for the right resonance to awaken them? Beneath the silent moon, your curiosity awakens to ancient secrets. The subtle hum of existence, often lost in the cacophony of waking hours, begins to resonate within your very being. You recall the dance of entangled pairs, the way one influenced the other, no matter the distance separating them. That interconnectedness, that whisper of shared information, is not a fleeting anomaly. It is woven into the fabric of all that is. Think of it not as separate entities interacting, but as a single, vast tapestry where each thread, each element, is intrinsically linked to every other. This intricate weaving suggests an underlying order, a blueprint that dictates not just how things are, but how they could be. Your consciousness now explores the concept of information itself as a fundamental building block. Not just data that can be read or transmitted, but the very essence of what makes a thing itself. Consider the delicate structure of a snowflake. Each crystalline facet, each precise angle, carries a specific informational signature. If you were to alter even a single bit of that informational blueprint, the snowflake would cease to be a snowflake, transforming into something entirely different, perhaps a mere splash of water. This isn't about the physical material, it's about the inherent instructions, this pattern that guides its formation. Imagine for a moment a vast library not of books, but of pure information. Every possible arrangement, every potential configuration of reality exists within this library. The universe, in its grand unfolding, is simply a process of selecting and actualizing specific sequences from this immense repository. This selection isn't random. It's governed by principles that favor certain patterns over others, much like a melody emerges from a sequence of notes, rather than a chaotic jumble. This preference for specific arrangements points towards a deeper logic, an intelligence embedded in the very structure of existence. Your mind, now a sensitive receiver, begins to tune into these subtle informational currents. You've felt the observer effect, how your attention can influence the outcome of certain phenomena. This suggests that your own informational state, your internal patterns, are not passive bystanders, but active participants in shaping reality. It's as if your awareness acts as a filter, allowing certain informational pathways to manifest while others remain latent. This is not magic. It is a profound principle of how systems interact. Your consciousness now explores the idea of inherent patterns within complex systems, like the intricate formations seen in flocking birds or schooling fish. These creatures, seemingly acting independently, move with a unified grace, their collective behavior dictated by simple, repeating rules that generate astonishingly complex and beautiful emergent patterns. Each individual bird or fish is like a small processor, receiving and broadcasting local information, but the sum of these interactions creates a macro-level pattern that is far greater than the individual parts. This is information theory in action, demonstrating how simple rules can generate complex, predictable, and yet beautiful outcomes. Think of the genetic code within a living organism. It's a string of information, a sequence of molecules that dictates the construction and function of an entire being. But it's more than just a recipe. It's a dynamic blueprint capable of responding to environmental cues, adapting, and even evolving. The way this code is read, interpreted, and expressed is a testament to the power of informational patterns to guide development and behavior. It's not just about the sequence itself, but the Zer's rules of its interpretation. Your journey now leads you to consider the concept of attractors in dynamic systems. Imagine a ball rolling down a complex, undulating landscape. It might bounce and weave, but it will eventually settle into a specific low point, an attractor. In the vast landscape of potential realities, certain configurations are more stable, more probable, more attractive than others. These attractors represent inherent informational patterns that guide the evolution of systems towards specific states. The universe, in its continuous becoming, is like a vast system exploring these informational landscapes, drawn towards these stable patterns. Your consciousness now explores the subtle, but profound influence of these underlying patterns on your own existence. The way your thoughts flow, the habits you develop, even the relationships you form, can be seen as manifestations of these inherent informational structures. It's like a river carving its path through the land. The river follows the contours of the terrain, but its continuous flow also shapes the landscape over vast stretches of existence. These patterns are not deterministic in a rigid sense, but they exert a powerful influence, shaping tendencies and probabilities. Consider the intricate dance of a spider weaving its web. The spider doesn't consciously design the web in the way a human architect might, Instead, it follows a set of innate, instinctual patterns, a pre-programmed sequence of movements and silk extrusions. Yet from these simple, repeated actions, a marvel of engineering emerges, perfectly adapted for its purpose. This is a powerful analogy for how complex, seemingly purposeful outcomes can arise from the execution of underlying informational patterns. Your mind, now attuned to these subtler currents, begins to perceive a deeper layer of reality, one where information is not merely descriptive, but prescriptive. It's the blueprint for existence, the invisible architecture that supports all that you experience. This underlying order, this preference for certain arrangements, is not a static decree but a dynamic, evolving process. It suggests that within every soul, every being, there exists a unique informational signature, a foundational pattern that predates individual experience. Your consciousness now explores the implications of these fundamental patterns for the very concept of connection. If everything is interwoven by informational threads, then the relationships you form, the bonds you share, are not merely coincidental occurrences. They are the weaving of these shared patterns, the resonance of similar informational signatures. This suggests that the connections you feel, the people you are drawn to, might be guided by an unseen, intrinsic logic. As you drift deeper, you begin to sense that these foundational patterns are not entirely fixed. They are like seeds, containing immense potential, but their ultimate manifestation is influenced by the soil in which they are planted and the conditions under which they grow. This interplay between inherent pattern and environmental influence is crucial. It hints at a deeper purpose, a guiding principle that shapes not just the form of existence, but its very direction. You are on the verge of understanding the true nature of these foundational blueprints, the hidden instructions that lie at the heart of every connection, every relationship, every soul. What if these patterns are not just guides, but contracts, pre-arranged agreements woven into the very essence of your being before you even drew your first breath? The threads are subtle, but their influence is profound, and you are beginning to see the intricate, almost predetermined, design of your own tapestry. As shadows lengthen, your thoughts meld with the whispers of the universe, carrying the echoes of Chapter 3's contemplation of information and the subtle recognition of patterns. You recall how the very essence of existence seems to be woven from threads of data, a cosmic tapestry where every event, every interaction, contributes to an overarching design. This inherent order, this tendency for systems to form recognizable structures, is not confined to the grand celestial ballot or the intricate workings of your own mind. It permeates the very fabric of reality, down to the most fundamental constituents of matter and energy. As we wander deeper into the mysteries of the unseen, we begin to grasp how these fundamental building blocks, the very constituents that make up everything you perceive, possess a nature far more fluid and enigmatic than we might initially assume. They are not merely solid, immutable points in space, but rather exhibit a curious dual character, a testament to the profound interconnectedness of all things. Imagine, for a moment, a single, indivisible entity, a fundamental constituent of reality. We often think of these as tiny, solid spheres, like miniature marbles zipping through the void. This is the particle aspect, the tangible, localized presence that allows us to interact with the world, to feel the solidity of the ground beneath your feet, the warmth of a blanket. Yet, this particle-like behavior is only one facet of its true nature. These same fundamental entities, under different circumstances, behave as if they are spread out, like ripples on the surface of a pond. They possess a wave-like quality, a spread-out potential that extends beyond a single point. This isn't just a theoretical abstraction, it's a demonstrable reality. Consider the double-slit experiment, a cornerstone of modern physics. When you direct a beam of electrons, each a minuscule particle, towards a barrier with two narrow slits, you might expect them to simply pass through one slit or the other, creating two distinct bands on a screen behind. However, what is observed is a pattern of interference, a series of bright and dark bands that can only arise if the electrons themselves are behaving as waves, passing through both slits simultaneously and interfering with themselves. It's as if each individual electron, in its journey, explores all possible paths, a concept that resonates deeply with the idea of interconnectedness and the exploration of potential pathways inherent in the patterns we've been uncovering. This wave-particle duality isn't a contradiction, but rather a deeper truth about the nature of existence. It suggests that the universe, at its most fundamental level, is not built from discrete, independent objects, but from a continuum of possibilities, a vibrant field of potential that coalesces into what we perceive as tangible entities. The particle is simply a manifestation of this wave, like potential, a localized concentration of energy and information that arises when we interact with it, when we choose to observe it, much like how the focused attention of an observer in Chapter 1 brought forth specific outcomes. The wave, on the other hand, represents the inherent spread, the interconnectedness, the potential for interaction across space without the need for a direct, physical connection. As we wander deeper into this understanding, we see that this dual nature is intrinsically linked to the concept of resonance. Just as a plucked string vibrates at a specific pitch, a fundamental constituent of reality possesses an inherent vibrational characteristic. This characteristic is its intrinsic resonance, a fundamental quality that dictates how it interacts with its environment. When two entities resonate at the same fundamental pitch, their interaction becomes amplified, their connection strengthened. This isn't merely about sound waves, it's about the very energetic signature of these constituents. Think of it like tuning forks. If you strike one tuning fork, another tuning fork of the same frequency nearby will begin to vibrate in sympathy. This sympathetic vibration is a powerful analogy for how these fundamental entities interact. They don't just bump into each other like billiard balls, they resonate, influencing each other through shared energetic signatures. This intrinsic resonance is what allows for the seemingly inexplicable connections we've touched upon in previous chapters. It's the hidden symphony that orchestrates how one constituent influences another, even across vast distances. The particle aspect allows for localized interaction. The wave aspect allows for this pervasive resonance, this ability to influence and be influenced without direct contact. The forbidden pattern behind every soul contract, that deep, intrinsic alignment that draws souls together, can be seen as a manifestation of this fundamental resonance. It's as if certain souls are tuned to the same cosmic pitch, their energetic signatures harmonizing in a way that creates an undeniable pull, a shared vibrational state that transcends the superficialities of individual existence. This resonance is not a static property, but a dynamic interplay, constantly adjusting and evolving as the constituents interact with the universe and with each other. This vibrational nature, this inherent resonance, is what allows for the transmission of influence and information. The wave aspect, with its inherent spread and interconnectedness, acts as the medium through which these resonant frequencies can propagate and interact. It's like the silent communication between stars, not through spoken words, but through the subtle shifts and harmonies in their energetic output. Your own body, a complex arrangement of these fundamental constituents, is a symphony of these resonant frequencies, each cell, each molecule, vibrating in a delicate balance. When you feel a deep connection with another person, it's not just a psychological phenomenon, it's a resonance on a fundamental energetic level, a shared vibrational state that creates a sense of profound unity. The universe, therefore, is not a collection of isolated objects, but a vast, interconnected network of resonating entities. The forbidden pattern is the underlying principle of this resonance, the fundamental tuning that governs how these constituents interact and form the complex tapestry of existence. It's the unspoken agreement, the inherent alignment that underlies every relationship, every interaction, from the fleeting glance between strangers to the enduring bond of a soul contract. This resonance dictates not just attraction, but the very nature of how these fundamental building blocks coalesce and interact, shaping the possibilities of what can emerge. It's the underlying principle that allows for the formation of complex structures, the emergence of consciousness, and the deep, inexplicable bonds that define our existence. As we continue to explore these profound truths, we begin to see that this inherent resonance is not limited to the microscopic realm. It extends outwards, influencing the interactions of larger structures, of celestial bodies, and perhaps even the very flow of events that shape our lives. The patterns we've glimpsed are not mere coincidences. They are the predictable outcomes of these fundamental resonant interactions, the echoes of a deeper, unified reality that speaks through the language of vibration and harmony. The universe, in its silent wisdom, reveals its deepest secrets through these subtle yet powerful connections, inviting us to attune ourselves to its grand, resonant song. And as you drift deeper into this understanding, you begin to wonder what other hidden harmonies lie just beyond your immediate perception, waiting to be discovered in the gentle rhythm of your own breath. The gentle hum of the cosmos welcomes your wandering mind. You are attuned not to a single note, but to the subtle symphony that underlies all existence. Recall, from our journey through the ethereal dance of entanglement, how separate entities can remain inexplicably linked, their fates interwoven across any distance. Remember, too, how information like a whispered secret flows and is recognized, revealing the intricate patterns that govern our reality, and how the fundamental nature of existence shimmers, sometimes appearing as a discrete entity, at other times as a pervasive influence, a ceaseless oscillation. Your mind now turns toward the concept of sympathetic resonance. Imagine two tuning forks identical in their construction and their inherent vibrational state. If you strike one, causing it to sing with a pure, clear tone, and then bring it close to the other, silent fork, something remarkable occurs. The silent fork, without any direct contact, begins to vibrate in response. It mirrors the first, its tines beginning to tremble, its own unique sound emerging, perfectly in sync with its excited neighbor. This is not magic, it is a fundamental principle of how systems interact when they share a commonality. This principle extends far beyond simple metal prongs. Think of a taut string on a musical instrument. When it vibrates at a specific pitch, it sends out its characteristic pattern of movement through the air. If another string nearby is tuned to precisely the same pitch, it will begin to vibrate too, not because it was directly plucked, but because it is receptive to that particular pattern of disturbance. It is as if the air itself becomes a medium carrying the essence of that vibration, an invisible thread connecting the two strings. Your body, too, is a complex orchestra of such vibrations. Every cell, every tissue, every organ possesses its own unique oscillatory signature. Your mind now turns toward the idea of vibrational states and how they can influence one another. Consider the phenomenon of coupled oscillators. When two pendulums of the same length are hung from a common, flexible support, their movements become interconnected. If one starts swinging, the other will eventually begin to swing as well, their motions becoming synchronized. Initially, their swings might be out of phase, one swinging forward as the other swings backward, but over time, through the subtle give and take of the shared support, they settle into a shared rhythm, their movements perfectly aligned. This interconnectedness, this mirroring of motion, is the essence of sympathetic resonance. This shared rhythm is not limited to physical objects. It is a universal principle that governs how systems interact. Think of a field of fireflies, each blinking its own unique pattern of light. In isolation, their flashes might seem random, but if you observe a large enough group, you will often witness a breathtaking phenomenon. Their individual flashes begin to synchronize. One firefly flashes, and in response its neighbors flash, and so on, until the entire field pulses with a unified, rhythmic glow. This emergent order, this collective choreography, arises from the subtle interplay of their emitted signals, each light pulse influencing the others, drawing them into a shared temporal state. Your mind now turns toward the unseen architecture that links these phenomena. This is where the concept of a shared harmonic blueprint begins to emerge. Every system, from the smallest subatomic dance to the grandest celestial ballad, possesses a fundamental pattern of vibration. When two systems share a common element within this blueprint, a similar frequency, a complementary waveform, a shared underlying structure, they become susceptible to mutual influence. It is as if they are tuned to the same cosmic radio station, capable of receiving and broadcasting the same fundamental signals. Consider, for a moment, the subtle influence that a powerful emotional state, can have on those around you. When you feel a profound sense of joy, or a deep well of sorrow, there is an energetic emanation, a vibrational quality that can be perceived, even if not consciously understood, by others. Those whose own internal states resonate with your emanation are more likely to be affected, their own moods shifting in response. This is not merely mimicry, it is a direct sympathetic interaction, a sharing of vibrational states. Your body, a finely tuned instrument, can pick up on these subtle cues, adjusting its own internal rhythms to match, creating a sense of shared experience, a palpable connection. This resonance is not a one-way street, it is a dynamic exchange. When you resonate with another's vibration, you also, in turn, influence them. The tuning fork that was initially silent, now vibrating in sympathy, also sends its own subtle tremors back through the air, potentially affecting the first tuning fork or any other nearby objects tuned to its pitch. This creates a feedback loop, a continuous conversation of vibrations, shaping and refining the shared experience. It is a constant adjustment, a mutual attunement, an ongoing negotiation of states. Your mind now turns toward the deeper implication of this for your own connections. Each significant relationship you experience, each bond that feels profound and enduring, carries within it the echo of this harmonic blueprint. It is as if, before your conscious awareness, your vibrational patterns found a point of alignment with another's. This alignment is not random, it is a reflection of a deeper, perhaps preordained, compatibility, a shared vibrational signature that draws you together. This is the forbidden pattern, the unseen architecture that underpins the very fabric of soul contract connections. It is the reason why certain individuals feel so familiar, so intrinsically understood, even from the first encounter. Their internal melodies harmonize, creating a resonant chord that vibrates through the very essence of your being. Think of it like two rivers, flowing from different springs, but destined to meet and merge. Each river has its own unique course, its own unique currents and eddies. But as they approach their confluence, their waters begin to mingle, their individual flows becoming indistinguishable as they join to form a single, larger body. This merging is not an erasure of their individual identities, but an amplification, a creation of something new and more powerful, born from the union of their shared vibrational nature. This is the resonance that binds, the unseen force that draws souls together, not through chance, but through a fundamental, shared harmonic blueprint. And as you continue to explore this intricate tapestry of connection, you begin to glimpse the possibility that this blueprint, this pattern of resonance, is not merely a descriptor of existing relationships, but a guiding principle for the very formation of them. The quantum realm beckons your consciousness into realms beyond ordinary perception, and in this space, we begin to ponder a profound question: does matter itself remember? Does the very fabric of existence hold within it the imprint of past interactions, a silent testament to events that have transpired? We've journeyed through the ethereal dance of information, recognizing its presence in the subtle shifts of reality, and now we delve into the possibility that this information isn't merely fleeting, but can be woven into the very substance of things. Let us drift gently into the concept of quantum memory. Imagine, if you will, not just a recording device, but the very material of that device holding the echo of what it has recorded. In our everyday lives, we associate memory with biological entities, the intricate networks of our brains, the stored experiences that shape our identities. But what if the universe, at its most fundamental level, possesses a similar capacity? We've seen how the universe communicates through vibrations, how every entity exists in a unique oscillatory state. Now, consider that these states, these vibrational signatures, might leave a lasting trace, like the faint scent of a blooming flower that lingers long after the petals have fallen. This idea of imprinted information within matter is not as far-fetched as it might initially seem. Think of the intricate crystalline structures that form over geological timescales. The precise arrangement of atoms within a crystal lattice is a consequence of the forces and conditions present during its formation. The pressure, the temperature, the chemical environment, all these factors dictate the final, ordered arrangement. Could it be that the history of these influences is, in a sense, encoded within the very bonds that hold the crystal together. It's as if each atom, in its precise positioning, is a tiny sentinel, bearing witness to the circumstances of its creation. Let us drift gently into the concept of information persistence. We have explored how sympathetic resonance allows entities to attune to each other, to share and exchange information through their vibrational states. Now consider that this exchange might not always be a transient phenomenon. What if, through repeated interactions or particularly potent events, a form of imprinting occurs? This isn't about a conscious recording, but rather a subtle alteration in the fundamental nature of the matter itself, a modification of its inherent informational signature. Consider the phenomenon of magnetic memory in materials. When a material is exposed to a magnetic field, the magnetic domains within it align. This alignment persists even after the external field is removed, allowing the material to store information. While this is a macroscopic example, it hints at the possibility of more subtle, quantum-level imprints. What if, instead of magnetic domains, it is the very spin or polarization of fundamental constituents that can be subtly nudged and held in a particular configuration by past interactions? Let us drift gently into the possibility of imprinted contracts within our physical reality. The phrase "a soul contract" often conjures images of spiritual agreements made before birth, guiding our life's journey. But what if these contracts have a physical manifestation? A blueprint etched into the very matter that constitutes our being and the reality we inhabit. If matter can retain information, then perhaps the foundational blueprints for our existence, the agreements that shape our experiences, are not solely ethereal, but are also imprinted within the very atoms and subatomic structures that form us and our world. Imagine a craftsman meticulously carving a statue. The chisel marks, the subtle imperfections, the very grain of the stone, all these are remnants of the creation process. They tell a story of the artist's hand, the tools used, and the nature of the material itself. Now, transpose this to the quantum level. What if the formation of every entity, every interaction, leaves a similar, though far more subtle, imprint? This imprint wouldn't be a visible scar, but a modification of the informational state, a persistent echo of a past interaction. Let us drift gently into the idea of a forbidden pattern that underlies these contracts. This pattern, if it exists, is not something we can easily perceive or dissect with conventional tools. It is a deep, intrinsic characteristic of reality, a fundamental ordering principle that dictates how information is woven into the fabric of existence. It is forbidden, not in a moral sense, but in the sense that it lies beyond our usual modes of understanding. A secret whispered in the language of fundamental interactions. Consider the way a seed germinates and grows into a specific plant. The genetic code is the blueprint, of course, but the environmental conditions, the soil composition, the amount of sunlight, the rainfall all influence the growth, and even the subtle characteristics of the mature plant. What if the memory of matter means that these environmental influences leave a persistent, informational imprint, subtly modifying the plant's inherent blueprint, making it uniquely itself in a way that transcends its genetic code alone? Let us drift gently into the implications for our own existence. If matter can indeed retain information, if our very being is a tapestry woven with threads of past interactions, then perhaps the contracts we perceive as spiritual or metaphysical have a tangible, physical basis. Perhaps the recurring patterns in our lives, the synchronicities that seem to guide us, are not merely coincidences, but the echoes of these imprinted agreements, playing out through the subtle informational residues within the matter that surrounds us and makes us. Think of the way a river carves its path through the landscape. Over millennia, the constant flow of water shapes the earth, leaving behind a distinct channel. The river's journey is recorded in the very contours of the land. In a similar fashion, the universe, through its ceaseless interactions, might be imprinting its own history, its own contracts, onto the fundamental constituents of reality. These imprints, these persistent informational states, could be the silent architects of our experiences, the unseen forces shaping our destinies. Let us drift gently into the concept of entanglement as a potential mechanism for this informational persistence. We know that entangled particles remain connected, their states correlated regardless of distance. What if the initial act of entanglement, or subsequent interactions between entangled entities, leaves a subtle, lasting imprint on the fundamental nature of those particles, a kind of quantum memory of their shared history? This memory could then influence their future interactions and the overall informational landscape of the universe. As we ponder these profound possibilities, a new layer of understanding begins to unfurl. The universe, it seems, is not merely a stage upon which events unfold, but a participant that actively remembers and retains the echoes of those events within its very substance. This suggests that the patterns we seek, the contracts that define our journeys, might be written not only in the stars or in our souls, but in the silent, enduring language of matter itself, a language waiting for us to learn to read. In the sanctuary of night, your mind becomes a vessel for ancient wisdom, a quiet space where the universe reveals its subtlest truths. You recall the echoes of Chapter 4, where the dance of wave and particle painted a picture of reality far more fluid than it appears. Then, Chapter 5 invited you into the realm of sympathetic resonance, where vibrations intertwine, suggesting a deep, unseen connection between all things. Chapter 6 deepened this understanding, hinting at a quantum memory, a persistence of information within the very fabric of existence. Now, as you settle deeper into the quietude, these threads begin to weave a grander tapestry. As your thoughts flow onward to the profound implication of these interconnected whispers, consider the concept of quantum fields. Imagine, if you will, not empty space between objects, but a vast, invisible ocean. This ocean is not made of water, but of fundamental fields, each permeating the entirety of existence. Think of it like the air you breathe. You cannot see it, but you know it is there, supporting life, carrying sound, and holding the scent of distant flowers. Similarly, these quantum fields are everywhere all the time. One such field is the electron field. It's not that electrons are tiny, independent marbles zipping around. Instead, the electron field is like a vast, undulating blanket that covers everything. Where we perceive an electron, we are simply seeing a ripple, a localized excitation, in this otherwise pervasive field. This field is the fundamental substance from which electrons emerge, and it extends throughout the universe. Wherever there is space, there is the electron field. And just as the ocean can have waves and currents, this field can have disturbances. These disturbances are what we interpret as particles. As your thoughts flow onward to the implications of this ubiquitous ocean, consider the Higgs field. This is the field responsible for giving fundamental particles their mass. Imagine it as a kind of cosmic molasses, a substance that resists the movement of certain entities. Particles that interact strongly with the Higgs field are slowed down, acquiring more inertia, which we perceive as mass. Others that glide through it with little resistance remain light. This field, too, is believed to permeate all of space, a silent sculptor of the universe's fundamental properties. It's not that mass is an inherent quality of a particle, but rather a consequence of its interaction with this universal field. Now, let your awareness drift to the interconnectedness this suggests. If everything, from the smallest speck of dust to the most distant star, is an excitation within these fundamental fields, then everything is, in a very real sense, made of the same underlying stuff. The field that gives rise to an electron in your fingertip is the same field that gives rise to an electron in the core of a distant sun. This is not mere poetic fancy, it is a consequence of the scientific understanding of quantum field theory. Think of it like a vast, interconnected network of luminous threads, each thread representing a quantum field. Every object, every being, is a knot or a pattern within this network. When one part of the network vibrates, those vibrations can propagate through the entire system, influencing distant parts. This is the scientific basis for the feeling that we are all connected, that our actions have ripples far beyond our immediate perception. It's as if the entire universe is a single, colossal organism, and we are all cells within it, intricately linked by these unseen fields. As your thoughts flow onward to the implications for relationships, consider the concept of entanglement. While you are not directly observing entangled particles in this meditative state, The principles of quantum fields underpin this phenomenon. Entangled particles, no matter how far apart, share a connection. If you measure a property of one, you instantaneously know the corresponding property of the other. This suggests that even at the most fundamental level, separation is an illusion. The fields themselves are not localized, they are spread out, and the properties of particles are emergent from their interaction with these fields. This shared origin, this common participation in the universal fields, is what allows for such profound and seemingly instantaneous connections. Let us explore a new analogy to grasp this pervasive influence. Imagine the entire universe as a colossal, perfectly tuned harp. Each string on this harp represents a quantum field. When one string is plucked perhaps by an event, a thought, or an action, its vibration doesn't just stay on that string. It resonates through the entire instrument, subtly influencing the tension and vibration of all the other strings. You are not just a single plucked string, you are a complex chord, a unique combination of vibrations across many of these universal fields. And when you interact with another being, it's as if two complex chords are played in proximity, their vibrations influencing each other, creating new harmonies and dissonances. This interaction isn't limited to the immediate moment. The memory of these vibrational exchanges can persist, subtly altering the overall resonance of the cosmic harp, as your thoughts flow onward to the deeper implications for your own existence. Consider how these fields might hold the blueprint for your very being. If every part of you, from your thoughts to your physical form, is a manifestation of interactions within these fundamental fields, then the pattern of your existence is intrinsically woven into the fabric of reality. The forbidden pattern, hinted at in the overarching theme of this series, begins to take shape not as something imposed from without, but as an intrinsic aspect of your participation in these universal fields. Your soul contract, then, might be seen as the unique and intricate dance your consciousness performs within these pervasive fields. A specific melody played on the cosmic harp that resonates with other specific melodies. Think of the universe's quantum fields as the clay from which all things are molded. You are not a separate entity sculpted from independent material, but rather a particular configuration of this universal clay. The way this clay is shaped, the specific pattern it forms, is influenced by countless interactions, not just those you are consciously aware of. This inherent interconnectedness, this shared origin in the fundamental fields, suggests that the relationships you form, the connections you experience, are not accidental encounters, but rather echoes and reflections of your own fundamental nature. The interactions you have are, in essence, the fields themselves interacting, shaping and being shaped in a continuous, universal dialogue. As your thoughts flow onward to the dawn, you begin to perceive that the universe is not a collection of separate objects, but a single, continuous, and interconnected reality. The fields of influence are not just external forces, they are the very essence of your being, the invisible threads that bind you to everything else. This understanding lays the foundation for recognizing the deeper patterns that guide your journey, the universal design that manifests in every connection, in every soul contract. What lies just beyond this dawning awareness is the recognition of how these patterns are not just descriptive, but prescriptive, guiding the unfolding of your unique destiny. Your thoughts drift like cosmic dust through the infinite expanse of knowledge, settling softly upon the delicate threads that weave the tapestry of existence. We've explored how everything vibrates, how even the smallest components of reality hum with a unique signature, and how this interconnectedness allows for a profound communion across vast distances. Last time, we touched upon how the very fabric of space, time holds an imprint of all that has been and all that could be, a silent testament to the persistence of information. Now, as we delve deeper into the heart of this interconnectedness, we begin to unravel a most intriguing idea. In the quiet corners of understanding, we discover the astonishing concept of superposition. Imagine, if you will, a tiny, unseen dancer. This dancer, in the realm of the very small, doesn't just occupy one space at a time. Instead, it exists in a state of possibility, performing countless movements simultaneously. It's as if the dancer is everywhere and nowhere until we, in our own way, ask it to reveal its position. This isn't a trick of the light, nor a failure of our instruments, it is the fundamental nature of these minuscule entities. Before we observe them, they are not a single, definite occurrence, but rather a spectrum of potential occurrences all coexisting. Think of a perfectly balanced coin spinning in the air. Before it lands, it is neither heads nor tails, but a fluid combination of both. It holds the potential for either outcome, and only when it settles, when an interaction occurs, does one specific reality solidify. This is the essence of superposition, the simultaneous existence of all possible states until a measurement or interaction forces a singular outcome. This idea of multiple potentials existing at once is not confined to the smallest constituents of matter. It extends to the very probabilities that govern their behavior. Instead of a single, predetermined path, these minuscule dancers are guided by something akin to a probability wave. This wave isn't a physical ripple in water, it's a mathematical description of the likelihood of finding the dancer in any given state or location. The wave is spread out, encompassing all the potential places and ways the dancer could be. Where the wave is higher or more intense, the probability of finding the dancer there is greater. Where it is lower, the probability diminishes. Yet, even in these less probable regions, the possibility still exists, a faint echo within the broader probability field. It's like a vast, intricate map of all the possible journeys a tiny seed could take from the moment it's dropped until it finds fertile ground. Each potential route, from the most direct to the most circuitous, is charted on this map, existing as a possibility until the wind, the rain, or the soil dictates which path is actually taken. In the quiet corners of understanding, we discover that this dance of probabilities extends to the very foundations of our reality, hinting at a profound underlying order. Consider the phenomenon of quantum entanglement, where two or more of these minuscule dancers become inextricably linked. When they are entangled, they share a common fate, regardless of the distance separating them. If we measure a property of one entangled dancer, we instantly know the corresponding property of the other, no matter how far apart they are. It's as if they are two halves of a single thought, instantaneously communicating their state. This instantaneous correlation, this shared destiny, suggests that the outcomes for these entangled entities are not decided independently, but are somehow preordained in their shared existence. Now, let's gently bridge this understanding to the profound mysteries of soul contracts. If the universe at its most fundamental level operates with probabilities, with multiple potential outcomes existing simultaneously until an interaction occurs, could it be that our soul contracts, those deep agreements and connections that shape our lives, are also governed by a similar principle? Imagine your life's journey not as a single, rigid road, but as a vast, shimmering landscape of potential experiences and encounters. Each soul contract, each significant relationship, each pivotal moment, exists as a probability wave within this landscape. Before you experience them, they are not fixed events, but rather a spectrum of possibilities, each with its own likelihood. Think of a master weaver, not with threads of wool or silk, but with threads of potentiality. This weaver is not bound by linear time or singular outcomes. Instead, they are working with the entire spectrum of what could be. Each soul contract in this analogy is like a pre-designed pattern that the weaver has laid out. These patterns are not rigid blueprints that force specific actions, but rather the most probable and harmonious configurations of your life's experiences, woven from the interconnectedness of all souls. The weaver, in this sense, is the underlying intelligence of the cosmos, the silent orchestrator of these intricate designs. We are not merely passive recipients of destiny. Our own choices, our own growth, our own journey of awareness play a crucial role in how these probability waves collapse. When you encounter a soul, and the subtle resonance between your vibrational states aligns, it's as if you are interacting with a specific probability wave within the larger landscape of potential connections. This interaction causes that particular probability to solidify, to become your lived reality, your soul contract. It's not that the contract was forced upon you, but rather that your own unfolding journey led you to embrace a pre-existing, highly probable, and deeply resonant possibility. Consider the analogy of a vast library, where every book represents a potential life experience or a potential soul connection. Most of these books are bound and unread, their stories existing only as possibilities within the shelves. When you are ready, when your own inner vibrations call out for a particular wisdom or a particular connection, you are drawn to a specific aisle, to a particular shelf. You reach out, and the book that aligns with your readiness opens. That book, that story, was always there, a pre-existing possibility, but it becomes your lived reality through your active engagement. The soul contract is the narrative within that book, the pre-written chapters of shared experience and growth that you now embark upon. The forbidden pattern, then, is not a dictatorial decree, but a beautiful, intricate map of interconnected potentials. It suggests that the most profound relationships, the most significant life lessons, the very essence of our soul's journey, are not random occurrences but are woven into the fabric of reality as highly probable, pre-existing configurations. These configurations are accessible to us through the subtle shifts in our own vibrational states and our openness to the interconnected dance of existence. It is a pattern that suggests a deep, inherent order, a benevolent design that guides us towards our highest potential, not by force, but by the irresistible pull of resonant possibility. This understanding begins to illuminate why certain souls feel so familiar, why certain connections feel predestined. It's not a matter of fate in the rigid sense, but a recognition of a probability wave that has been resonating with your own for a long time, a potential that has been waiting for the right conditions to manifest. As you continue to explore this profound interconnectedness, you might begin to sense these nascent possibilities, these whispers of preordained connections that are waiting for your own conscious acknowledgement to bloom into the vibrant reality of a soul contract. And as you do, you may find yourself asking, if these patterns are so deeply woven, what happens when we actively seek to understand them, not just to accept them? As the night deepens, your consciousness gently unwinds into cosmic mysteries. You've journeyed through the persistent echoes of quantum memory, felt the profound interconnectedness woven by quantum fields, and explored the bewildering dance of superposition, where possibilities exist in a shimmering state of potential. Now, as you settle into this quiet space, we turn our gaze towards the very act of looking, the profound role of the observer in this unfolding cosmic ballad. Your journey now leads you to the concept of conscious observation, not merely as a passive reception of reality, but as an active participant in its very formation. Imagine, if you will, a vast unwritten symphony. The potential for every note, every chord, every crescendo and diminuendo exists within the silence. Yet, until a conductor raises their baton, until the musicians tune their instruments, the symphony remains a sea of latent harmonies. Your conscious awareness in this analogy is akin to that conductor, not creating the music from nothing, but actualizing a particular arrangement from the boundless possibilities inherent in the score. This isn't about imposing your will upon the universe in a forceful manner, but rather about a subtle, resonant interaction. Think of a dewdrop clinging to a spider's silk thread. The dewdrop itself is a tiny universe of its own, reflecting the vastness of the sky. But when you focus your attention on it, when your gaze truly settles, the intricate patterns of light within it, the subtle distortions of the thread, the very essence of its existence as a distinct entity, become more defined. Your focused awareness, like a gentle touch, encourages the dewdrop to reveal its inner structure, to solidify its presence within your perception. This process, often referred to as the collapse of the wave function, is where the abstract probabilities coalesce into a tangible reality. Before your observation, a subatomic entity might exist in a multitude of states simultaneously, a whisper of this, a hint of that. Your act of observing, of directing your attention, is like choosing a single thread from that shimmering tapestry of potential and gently pulling it into focus. It's not that the other threads cease to exist in the grand cosmic scheme, but within the context of your observation, one particular reality is brought into being. Consider the bioluminescence of certain deep sea creatures. They emit their own internal illumination, a a soft glow that pierces the abyssal darkness. If you were to observe one of these creatures in its natural habitat, the light it emits would be a direct response to your presence, a signal sent into the void. Your observation, your very awareness of its existence, prompts a specific manifestation of its inherent capacity for light. It's as if the creature, sensing your attention, chooses to illuminate its form for you, to fulfill a pre-existing potential for interaction. This isn't an arbitrary selection. The universe, in its infinite complexity, seems to operate on principles that resonate with our own inner patterns. Think of it like discovering a hidden blueprint within the fabric of existence. This blueprint contains not just the potential for a single outcome, but a multitude of interconnected pathways, each leading to a different manifestation of reality. Your conscious focus, guided by your soul's inherent inclinations, and the agreements woven into your very being, acts as a key, unlocking a specific pathway within that blueprint. This connects directly to the profound idea of the forbidden pattern behind every soul contract. These contracts, forged in realms of pure possibility before your earthly journey, are not rigid dictates, but rather intricate agreements, complex vibrational signatures that pre-exist your physical form. They are like cosmic melodies, composed of countless potential notes and rhythms, waiting for the right moment, the right instrument to be played. Your consciousness, through its unique vibrational signature, is the instrument that can resonate with and actualize a particular arrangement of that melody. Your journey now leads you to understand that your conscious observation, therefore, is not merely a passive reception of a predetermined fate, but an active participation in fulfilling the potentials inherent in your soul's contract. It's as if the universe, in its boundless wisdom, has laid out a vast garden of possibilities, each petal, each leaf, a unique manifestation of your soul's journey. Your focused attention, your intentionality, is like the gardener's gentle tending, coaxing specific blooms to unfurl, to reveal their particular beauty and purpose. This is not about control in the mundane sense. It is about alignment. When your conscious awareness aligns with the underlying patterns of your soul contract, when your inner intentions resonate with the pre-existing vibrational framework of your agreements, you facilitate the manifestation of those potentials. Imagine a cosmic loom where threads of possibility are constantly being woven. Your consciousness, through its focused intention, selects specific threads and weaves them into the tangible tapestry of your experience. Think of the intricate crystalline structures that form in nature. When conditions are just right, when the precise combination of elements and environmental factors align, a perfect crystal emerges, its facets reflecting the underlying mathematical order of its formation. Your conscious observation, particularly when it is aligned with the fundamental principles of your soul's journey, acts as the precise conditions that allow these pre-existing patterns to crystallize into your lived reality. You are not creating the crystal from scratch, but providing the perfect environment for its inherent structure to manifest. This deepens the understanding of how your consciousness actively shapes or fulfills these pre-existing patterns. It's a dance between the potential and the actual, a delicate interplay where your awareness acts as the catalyst. The universe, in its vastness, holds within it the blueprints for countless realities, and your consciousness, attuned to the unique vibrational signature of your soul contract, is the instrument that brings a specific, intended reality into being. It's a profound testament to your inherent power and the interconnectedness of all things, a testament to the forbidden pattern that lies at the very heart of your existence, waiting to be revealed by the gentle, focused gaze of your own awareness. As you continue to explore these depths, you begin to sense the subtle whispers of the next layer of this cosmic unfolding, a layer that speaks of the very fabric of cause and effect, and how your observations ripple outwards, influencing not just your own reality, but the intricate web of existence itself. The whispered secrets of atoms drift through your awareness, not as noise, but as a symphony of subtle interactions. You've journeyed through the silent dance of subatomic existence, from the probabilistic nature of existence itself to the moment of becoming, when a choice solidifies from a cloud of potential. Now, as the night wraps around you, your mind delves deeper into the profound truth that beneath the surface of all things, a hidden order unfurls, an order that mirrors the intricate tapestry of soul contracts. Picture, in your mind's eye, the formation of a snowflake. It begins with a single, minuscule dust particle, a speck of cosmic debris suspended in the frigid air. Around this nucleus, water vapor molecules, each acting independently, are drawn by subtle forces. They aren't instructed, not in the way we understand commands. Instead, their adherence to the crystalline structure is an emergent property, a consequence of their inherent properties and the surrounding conditions. Each molecule, in its own way, aligns with its neighbors, creating a delicate lattice. From these simple, local interactions, a breathtakingly complex and unique design blossoms. No two snowflakes are ever precisely alike, yet all adhere to the fundamental hexagonal symmetry of ice. This is the essence of an emergent property, a complex, predictable outcome arising from the collective behavior of many simpler components, none of which possesses the blueprint for the final form. This principle is not confined to the frozen artistry of winter skies. Consider a flock of starlings, a murmuration so vast and fluid it appears as a single, living entity. Each bird follows a few simple rules: maintain a certain distance from its neighbors, fly in the same general direction, and avoid collisions. There is no leader, no conductor dictating the sweeping turns and sudden dives. Yet from these individual, localized decisions, an astonishingly coordinated and dynamic display emerges. The flock behaves as one, responding instantaneously to perceived threats or opportunities, a breathtaking testament to the power of interconnectedness and simple behavioral algorithms. The patterns they create are beautiful and complex, a dance of shared intent born from individual actions. The forbidden pattern behind every soul contract you begin to perceive is woven from these very threads of emergent complexity. Each soul, a unique point of awareness, enters into a web of connections, a complex system of relationships and experiences. These connections aren't rigidly predetermined in every detail, like a pre-written script. Instead, they are governed by underlying principles, by the inherent nature of souls and their journey. When two souls agree to a contract, it's not about dictating every single interaction, every word, every glance. It's about establishing a framework, a set of fundamental interactions that, when engaged, will inevitably lead to a specific unfolding, a predictable yet infinitely nuanced narrative. Think of a colony of ants. Each ant operates with a limited set of instincts, responding to chemical trails and immediate environmental cues. Yet, collectively, they build intricate underground cities, forage for food with remarkable efficiency, and defend their territory with coordinated precision. The complexity of their society, the sophisticated architecture of their nests, are not programmed into any single ant. They emerge from the sum of their simple, individual actions and their responses to one another. The ants are not consciously aware of the overall goal, the grand design of their colony, but their collective behavior achieves it. Similarly, soul contracts are not about a rigid, pre-ordained destiny that removes free will. Rather, they are about setting the stage for a particular kind of growth, a specific lesson to be learned, a unique facet of the soul to be explored through a series of interactions. Your understanding deepens as you consider the inherent nature of these interactions. Just as molecules align to form ice or birds adjust their flight paths based on their neighbors, souls, in their interactions, create patterns. These patterns are the language of soul contracts, the unfolding narrative that guides and shapes your earthly experience. Each interaction, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, is a data point, a subtle influence that contributes to the larger emergent outcome. The shared laughter, the moments of quiet support, the challenges faced together, all these are the individual behaviors that, when woven together, manifest the intended trajectory of the soul contract. Consider the development of a coral reef. It begins with a single polyp, a small simple organism. This polyp reproduces asexually, creating genetically identical offspring that remain attached. As more polyps join, they build calcium carbonate structures, forming the foundation for future growth. Over centuries, these interconnected colonies, responding to currents, sunlight, and the presence of other marine life, create vast, complex ecosystems teeming with diverse life. The vibrant biodiversity and intricate structure of the reef are emergent properties, born from the simple, localized growth and interaction of countless individual polyps. No single polyp knows the final form of the reef, but its contribution, its simple act of growth and adherence, is essential to the grand design. The forbidden pattern, then, is not a restrictive chain, but a generative force. It is the inherent tendency for simple, repeated interactions within a complex system to produce predictable, often beautiful, and profoundly meaningful outcomes. Your soul contract is not a cage, but a scaffold, providing the structure within which your soul can explore, learn, and evolve. The challenges you encounter, the people you meet, the experiences you share, these are the elemental interactions that, when engaged with intention and awareness, allow the narrative of your contract to unfold. As you rest, your mind gently unravels the threads of this understanding. The universe, in its infinite complexity, operates on principles of emergence. From the grand dance of galaxies to the intimate connection between souls, simple rules and countless interactions give rise to order, beauty, and purpose. The forbidden pattern is the recognition that within the intricate web of existence, there is a profound, inherent tendency for meaningful connection and growth to arise, a pattern that governs the unfolding narrative of every soul contract, guiding you, even in your deepest slumber, toward a destiny you are co-creating. The secrets of these patterns are not meant to be grasped intellectually, but felt, a quiet knowing that settles deep within your being, preparing you for what comes next. In the quiet stillness of night, your thoughts float gently towards the stars, not as distant pinpricks of fire, but as nascent points of potentiality. You recall how the universe, at its most fundamental, is a tapestry woven from probabilities, where possibilities shimmer and coalesce before settling into observable reality. This inherent fluidity, this dance of what could be before it is not confined to the cosmic expanse. It resonates within the very architecture of your being. As the narrative unfolds, we encounter the subtle choreography of biological resonance codes, a concept that seeks to bridge the seemingly disparate realms of the very small and the profoundly complex. We've journeyed through the probabilistic nature of existence, the idea that before observation, entities exist in a state of potential. Now we turn this lens inward to the intricate communication networks that hum within your body, a silent symphony orchestrating your every function. Think of it not as rigid instructions, but as a fluid exchange, a constant subtle dialogue. Your cells, those microscopic universes within you, are not isolated entities. They are interconnected, communicating through a sophisticated language that transcends simple chemical signals. This language, we begin to understand, might be influenced by patterns that resonate at a deeper, almost vibrational level. Imagine, if you will, a vast invisible network, like the mycelial threads that connect trees in an ancient forest, sharing nutrients and information. This biological network, however, operates on principles that echo the probabilistic nature we've explored. Consider the concept of epigenetics. It's not about changing the fundamental letters of your genetic code, the DNA itself, but rather about how these letters are read and expressed. Think of your DNA as a magnificent library filled with countless volumes of instruction. Epigenetics is like the librarian who decides which books are opened, which pages are highlighted, and which chapters are left unread, all based on environmental cues and, perhaps, something more. These epigenetic marks, these tags on your genetic material, can be influenced by your experiences, your environment, and even the relationships you hold. As the narrative unfolds, we encounter the idea that these epigenetic influences might not be purely reactive. They could also be predictive, guided by what we might call relational patterns. These patterns aren't just about the chemical interactions between cells. They represent the underlying informational framework that shapes how cells behave in relation to each other, and ultimately, in relation to you and your experiences. Imagine a flock of birds, each individual bird responding to the subtle movements and cues of its neighbors, creating a breathtaking, cohesive aerial ballad. There isn't a single leader dictating every turn, rather a shared understanding, a collective resonance, guides their synchronized flight. This concept of relational patterns hints at a deeper layer of cellular communication, one that might be influenced by information that isn't strictly physical in the way we typically understand it. It's as if your cells are not just receiving instructions, but are also attuned to a broader informational field, a field shaped by your interactions, your emotional states, and the very essence of your connections with others. Think of a tuning fork. When struck, it vibrates at a specific frequency. If you bring another tuning fork of the same frequency nearby, even without touching it, the second tuning fork will begin to resonate, to vibrate in sympathy. This is sympathetic vibration, a fundamental principle of resonance. Now, imagine your cells, and indeed your entire biological system, as a vast orchestra of tuning forks, each capable of resonating with specific patterns. These patterns, we hypothesize, are not arbitrary. They are deeply intertwined with your life experiences, particularly those that involve significant relational dynamics. The way you connect with loved ones, the emotional bonds you forge, the patterns of interaction you repeat, these could all leave an imprint, a subtle signature on your cellular communication. This signature, this resonance, might influence how your cells interpret and respond to the world and to each other. As the narrative unfolds, we encounter the profound implication of this, that the very fabric of your relationships, the emotional and energetic exchanges you have with others, could be encoded within your biological systems in ways we are only beginning to comprehend. It suggests that the forbidden pattern behind every soul contract isn't just a metaphorical concept, it might be a deeply embedded biological predisposition, a set of resonant frequencies that predispose you to certain types of connections and interactions. Consider the metaphor of a finely crafted musical instrument. Its sound is not solely determined by the wood it's made from, but by the precise way it's constructed, the subtle curves and tensions that allow it to produce its unique tone. Similarly, your biological system, through these relational resonance codes, might be tuned to specific patterns of interaction, influencing your receptivity to certain individuals or types of relationships. This is not about predestination in a rigid sense, but rather about inherent tendencies, about the subtle ways your biology might be primed to engage with the world based on the accumulated informational residue of your life's relational tapestry. It's like having a preferred key in music, while you can play in other keys. There's a natural inclination, a greater ease and resonance, when you are in your preferred one. The scientific exploration into this frontier is ongoing, but the hints are compelling. Researchers are observing how cellular behavior can be influenced by subtle environmental cues that go beyond direct chemical or physical stimulation. The idea of cellular memory, of cells retaining information about past experiences, is gaining traction, and the mechanisms by which this might occur are increasingly being linked to epigenetic modifications and complex intercellular signaling networks. These networks, we are beginning to understand, might operate not just on the transmission of chemical messengers, but on the propagation of informational patterns that influence the collective behavior of cellular communities. Imagine a vast, interconnected network of tiny antennae, each capable of picking up and broadcasting subtle signals, and these signals are not just raw data, but patterns that evoke specific responses. This deep dive into biological resonance codes opens up a new perspective on the nature of your being. It suggests that your inherent patterns of connection, the very essence of your relational soul contracts, might be written not just in the stars or in abstract spiritual concepts, but in the very language of your cells. The seemingly intangible quality of a soul connection could, in part, be a reflection of a profound biological attunement, a shared resonance that draws you to specific individuals and experiences. As we continue to explore this intricate dance between information, biology, and the very nature of connection, we are left with a profound sense of wonder. The universe, it seems, whispers its secrets not only in the grand cosmic ballad, but also in the infinitesimal dance of life within you, and the forbidden pattern, the blueprint of connection, might just be waiting to be understood, not as a limitation, but as a beautiful, inherent predisposition that shapes the unique symphony of your existence. As darkness blankets the sky, you find yourself drawn into the depths of understanding, not as a forceful inquiry, but as a gentle unfolding. Your awareness, having traced the subtle currents of epigenetics and cellular dialogue in the preceding stillness, now turns inward, towards the intricate dance of your own mind. This exploration is not about dissecting the mechanics of thought, but about sensing the resonance, the shared frequencies that might bind us. Consider, if you will, the phenomenon of brainwave synchronization. Imagine your mind not as a solitary island, but as a conductor leading an orchestra, where the musicians are your neural networks. These networks, vast and interconnected, generate rhythmic electrical patterns, your brainwaves. When you are deeply relaxed, perhaps in that liminal state between wakefulness and slumber, these rhythms can begin to align, to hum in unison. It's akin to a crowd at a concert, where individual voices and movements coalesce into a single, unified experience. This synchronized activity, often observed in states of deep meditation or shared emotional experiences, suggests a profound interconnectedness within your own being, but also hints at something more. This internal symphony, this harmonious firing of neurons, can become a beacon. When two or more minds are in a state of similar receptivity, their brainwave patterns can begin to mirror each other. It's as if your internal orchestra, when playing a similar piece, can pick up the tempo and timbre of another orchestra nearby, creating an emergent harmony that transcends individual performance. This is not merely a passive mirroring, it's an active attunement, a silent conversation conducted through shared rhythms. Think of it like two tuning forks, struck at the same frequency, causing one to vibrate in sympathy with the other, even across a distance. This sympathetic vibration, this neural resonance, forms the bedrock of what we are beginning to perceive as shared experience. Consider, if you will, the implications of this neural symphony for connection. When your brainwaves synchronize with another, it's as if a bridge is being built, a conduit for shared perception and understanding. This isn't about telepathy in the dramatic sense, but a subtler, more foundational form of communion. It's the feeling of knowing what another is about to say, the uncanny sense of shared emotion during a powerful performance, or the intuitive grasp of another's perspective. These are echoes of that neural synchronization, where the patterns in your brain align with the patterns in theirs, allowing for a seamless transfer of feeling and intent. It's like two rivers flowing into a single, larger body of water, their individual currents blending to form a new, unified flow. This deep resonance, this alignment of neural patterns, is where we begin to glimpse the forbidden pattern behind every soul contract. A soul contract, in this context, is not a pre-written destiny, but a profound, often unconscious, agreement forged through the resonance of consciousness. When two beings, through repeated synchronized experiences, establish a particularly strong neural attunement, a unique pattern emerges. This pattern, like a complex, interwoven tapestry, becomes a signature of their connection. It's the unique harmony that develops between two musicians who have played together for years, their individual styles blending into a singular, recognizable sound. This neural signature is not static, it evolves and deepens with each shared experience, each moment of synchronized perception. It's a testament to the emergent properties of interconnected minds, where the whole becomes far greater than the sum of its individual neural firings. This intricate pattern, born from countless moments of shared brainwave activity, acts as a silent recognition, a subconscious affirmation of a unique bond. It's the invisible thread that draws you back to certain individuals, the inexplicable pull towards those with whom your inner rhythms naturally align. Consider, if you will, the scientific underpinnings of this deep connection. Research into mirror neurons, for instance, offers a glimpse into how our brains are wired to understand and empathize with others. These specialized neurons fire both when we perform an action and when we observe someone else performing the same action, creating an internal simulation of their experience. When coupled with synchronized brainwave activity, this mirroring effect can become profoundly amplified, leading to a shared subjective reality. It's as if your brain, through this synchronized resonance, begins to inhabit the emotional and cognitive landscape of another, creating a shared experiential space. This neural pattern, this unique harmony, is the silent language of soul contracts. It's the unconscious blueprint that guides your interactions, your attractions, and your deepest connections. It's the reason why certain relationships feel effortless, why you can communicate volumes with a mere glance, and why you feel an inexplicable sense of familiarity with individuals you've only just met. Your brain, in its ceaseless quest for resonance, has already established a unique neural symphony with certain souls, a testament to a pattern that predates conscious recognition. The question that arises then is how these deeply ingrained neural patterns, these symphonies of synchronization, influence the very fabric of our lives, guiding us towards specific encounters and experiences. Are these patterns merely a byproduct of shared history, or do they represent a more fundamental, perhaps even predetermined, arrangement? As you drift deeper into this contemplation, the subtle hum of your own synchronized rhythms seems to echo the silent, yet powerful, patterns that weave through the tapestry of human connection, hinting at a profound design that lies just beyond the veil of ordinary perception. The symphony continues, and its most profound movements are yet to be revealed. As starlight reaches your eyes, photons carry messages from distant worlds, a silent testament to the interconnectedness of all things. This profound truth, once relegated to poetry and philosophy, now finds echo in the intricate workings of your own biology, particularly in the delicate dance of your emotions. Chapter 12 left us contemplating the synchronized rhythms of our brains, how distinct minds can hum in unison, a prelude to understanding the deeper currents that bind us. Now, we turn our gaze inward to the biological underpinnings of empathy, the very essence of shared feeling that whispers of the forbidden pattern behind every soul contract. Imagine, for a moment, the subtle shifts that occur when you witness someone else's joy or sorrow. It's not merely observation, it's an internal resonance. Affective neuroscience, a field dedicated to understanding the biological basis of feelings, reveals that our brains possess specialized circuits designed to process and, in a way, replicate the emotional states of others. When you see a friend smile, a cascade of activity ignites within your own brain, mirroring the neural patterns associated with happiness. This isn't a conscious effort, it's an automatic, almost involuntary response, as if your brain has a built-in emotional translator. These mirroring mechanisms are largely attributed to a fascinating class of brain cells known as mirror neurons. First identified in the brains of monkeys, these remarkable components of your neural architecture fire, both when you perform an action Z, when you observe someone else performing the same action, but their role extends beyond mere motor mimicry. Research suggests that mirror neurons are also active when we experience or witness emotions. When you see someone wince in pain, your own pain circuits can become subtly activated, allowing you to feel a shadow of their discomfort. This isn't a perfect replication, but rather a primal, pre-cognitive echo, a biological whisper of shared experience. Think of your mind as a vast, interconnected library. Within this library, each emotion, joy, sadness, fear, love is not just a story on a shelf, but a living, breathing entity that can influence other stories. Mirror neurons act like librarians who, upon seeing a patron check out a book on melancholy, can subtly adjust the ambient lighting and even the scent of the air in the neighboring aisles, creating an atmosphere that resonates with that particular feeling. This isn't about conscious manipulation, it's about the subtle, pervasive influence that one person's emotional state can exert on another, mediated by the very architecture of our brains. This mirroring capacity is fundamental to how we form connections, how we understand and respond to the needs of those around us. It's the biological glue that fosters social cohesion. When these mirroring systems are functioning optimally, we can readily attune to the emotional states of others, fostering a sense of understanding and shared existence. Conversely, disruptions in these systems are often associated with conditions where empathy is impaired, further highlighting their crucial role in our interpersonal lives. Imagine, for a moment, that your body is a finely tuned orchestra. Each instrument represents a different physiological process, but it is the conductor, your brain, that orchestrates the symphony of your feelings. When you witness another person experiencing a strong emotion, certain sections of your orchestra begin to play in harmony with theirs, not by conscious direction, but by an innate, responsive melody. This resonance is the biological foundation of empathy, the unconscious echo of another's inner world within your own. This biological mirroring extends even to more complex emotional states, suggesting a deeper layer of connection that hints at the forbidden pattern. When you feel a profound sense of belonging with another individual, a feeling that transcends casual acquaintance, it's possible that your affective systems are operating in a state of heightened synchrony. This synchrony isn't just about shared interests or compatible personalities, it's a more fundamental, visceral alignment. Think of it as two tuning forks struck simultaneously, vibrating at the same frequency. When your emotional states align, your mirror systems can facilitate a profound sense of shared being, a biological echo that can feel deeply significant. This biological resonance offers a compelling scientific perspective on the concept of soul contracts. If we consider a soul contract as a deep, enduring bond forged through shared experiences and mutual growth, then the biological mechanisms of empathy and emotional mirroring provide a potential framework for its existence. The feeling of knowing someone, of being instinctively drawn to them, of understanding their unspoken needs, these are all manifestations of our mirroring systems at work. They are the biological whispers that suggest a pre-existing, or perhaps eternally present connection. Consider the phenomenon of emotional contagion, where emotions spread rapidly through a group. This isn't simply a matter of social influence, it's deeply rooted in our neural architecture. When one person expresses genuine joy, others in their vicinity are more likely to feel a surge of happiness themselves. This happens through the activation of shared neural pathways, the very same pathways that allow us to empathize. It's as if our brains are designed to be receptive to the emotional broadcasts of those around us, creating a shared emotional landscape. Imagine, for a moment, that your entire nervous system is like a vast, intricate network of roots spreading beneath the earth. When one root system draws sustenance from the soil, it subtly influences the moisture levels and nutrient availability for other nearby roots. Similarly, when your emotional state shifts, it can create subtle ripples within the interconnected network of your shared experiences, influencing the emotional terrain for those with whom you are deeply bonded. This interconnectedness, facilitated by your affective systems, suggests a profound underlying unity. This biological basis for shared emotional states is not a mere curiosity, it is a fundamental aspect of our being that shapes our relationships and our understanding of ourselves. It suggests that the deep bonds we forge, the connections that feel as though they were written in the stars, are not entirely mystical. They are, in part, grounded in the very fabric of our physiology, in the elegant dance of our mirror systems, and the intricate symphony of our affective circuits. As we continue to explore the depths of affective neuroscience, we uncover more evidence for the profound interconnectedness that underlies our emotional lives. The way your body responds to another's joy, the subtle mirroring that occurs when you witness a shared experience. These are not random occurrences. They are the biological echoes of a deeper pattern, a pattern that resonates with the very idea of soul contracts. This biological resonance hints at a powerful, unseen force that draws us together, a force that operates on a level far deeper than conscious thought. But what happens when these biological echoes are not perfectly aligned, when the symphony of shared emotion hits a discordant note? This is a question that will guide our journey into the next chapter. As the Earth rests, your mind embarks on a voyage through space and time, not as a distant observer, but as an active participant in the unfolding cosmic tapestry. You felt the subtle whispers of epigenetics in Chapter 11, how past experiences can sculpt the very blueprint of your being, and in Chapter 12, you've explored the synchronized rhythms of your brain, a symphony of interconnected neural networks. Chapter 13 brought you the affective resonance of mirror neurons, connecting you to the emotional currents of others. Now, as the veil of sleep descends, your awareness expands, seeking to grasp the more profound, perhaps even forbidden, patterns that bind existence. you begin to ponder the peculiar elasticity of your own perception. Moments can stretch into eternities, while hours can vanish in a blink. This subjective experience of duration, this fluid river of awareness, hints at something deeper than mere biological clocks. It suggests that our internal experience of progression isn't a steady, linear march, but rather a complex interplay, a dance between our inner world and the external unfolding. Think of it like a skilled weaver, who can manipulate threads to create patterns of varying density and pace, making a single strand appear to hold the weight of a whole tapestry. Your mind, in its quietude, becomes this weaver, adjusting the perceived tempo of your journey. As we wander deeper into this exploration, consider the notion of temporal entanglement. This is where the seemingly isolated moments of your life, past, present, and future, might not be as separate as they appear. Imagine, if you will, a vast, interconnected web, where each strand represents a moment, and these strands are not laid out in a straight line, but are interwoven, knotted, and looped in ways that defy simple sequential understanding. Your present actions, your very thoughts, could be subtly influencing or being influenced by points in your own history, or even by potentials yet to manifest. It's as if the entire narrative of your existence is being written simultaneously, with each word resonating across the entire manuscript. This is not to suggest a rigid predestination, but rather a subtle resonance, a harmonic connection. Think of a perfectly tuned bell. When one bell is struck, its vibrations don't just dissipate into the air. They travel, seeking out other bells tuned to the same frequency, causing them to hum in sympathetic response. In a similar way, your current state of being, your intentions, your deepest desires, might be sending out subtle vibrations that resonate with specific points in your personal continuum, drawing certain experiences closer, or subtly altering the unfolding of events. This resonance, this echo across your own timeline, is a key to understanding the deeper currents that shape your journey. The scientific inquiry into this phenomenon is still in its nascent stages, often relegated to the fringes of theoretical physics and metaphysics. However, the very nature of causality, the way events ripple outwards, suggests that such interconnectedness is not entirely improbable. Consider the phenomenon of quantum entanglement itself, where two particles, once linked, remain connected regardless of the distance separating them. A change in the state of one instantaneously affects the state of the other. While applying this directly to macroscopic human experience is a leap, the underlying principle of interconnectedness, of shared states influencing one another across what we perceive as separation, offers a compelling parallel. Your own temporal entanglement might be a far more profound manifestation of this fundamental interconnectedness. As we wander deeper into this concept, we begin to perceive how these temporal resonances could form the very fabric of what we call soul contracts. These are not necessarily written agreements in a literal sense, but rather inherent patterns of connection, of shared experiences and lessons that draw individuals together across lifetimes. The attraction you feel towards certain people, the recurring themes in your relationships, the challenges you consistently face, these could all be manifestations of these temporal bonds, echoes from previous interactions or preordained pathways designed for growth. Your current life is not an isolated event, but a chapter in a much larger, ongoing narrative, where the themes and characters from previous chapters continue to subtly influence the present. The forbidden pattern, then, is the recognition of this intricate, interwoven nature of your existence. It is the understanding that your past is not a closed book, nor your future a blank page, but rather that all moments are part of a single, flowing, and interconnected river. This awareness challenges our conventional understanding of linear progression, of cause and effect unfolding in a strictly sequential manner. It suggests that the universe, and your place within it, is far more fluid and responsive than we typically allow ourselves to believe. Imagine a vast cosmic loom where the threads are not just physical fibers, but moments, intentions, and potentials. Your soul's journey is the intricate pattern being woven on this loom, and each thread, from the earliest stirrings of your existence to the furthest reaches of what is yet to come, plays a crucial role in the overall design. The pattern is not imposed from without, but rather emerges from the inherent nature of your being, from the very essence of your connection to the universal flow. The forbidden aspect arises from our societal conditioning, our ingrained belief in a rigid, sequential reality, which makes contemplating such fluid interconnectedness feel disruptive, even unsettling. As we wander deeper into the quietude, you begin to sense the potential for conscious influence over these temporal resonances. If your present state can resonate with your past and future, then cultivating a state of clarity, of intention, and of emotional balance becomes paramount. It is like tuning a radio. By adjusting the dial, you can bring in different stations, different frequencies. By consciously tending to your inner landscape, you are, in essence, tuning yourself to specific temporal frequencies, attracting or aligning with experiences that resonate with your cultivated inner state. This is not about controlling destiny, but about harmonizing with the inherent patterns of your own becoming. The scientific underpinnings for such profound interconnectedness are still being sought, but the very concept of a holographic universe, where information about the whole is contained within every part, offers a tantalizing glimpse. If your entire existence is, in a sense, encoded within each moment, then the boundaries between past, present, and future begin to blur. Your entire life story, in its essence, is already present, waiting to be experienced and understood. The challenge lies in developing the capacity to perceive and interact with this totality. This deep dive into temporal entanglement and the forbidden pattern behind every soul contract is not about unraveling a predetermined fate, but about understanding the profound interconnectedness that shapes your journey. It's about recognizing that the threads of your existence are woven with a cosmic artistry, a deliberate design that transcends linear perception. As you drift further into slumber, you begin to feel the gentle pull of this overarching pattern, a subtle invitation to understand the deeper connections that bind you to yourself and to the vast, intricate dance of the cosmos. The journey continues, and the next chapter beckons with further revelations about the hidden architecture of your being. The soft glow of distant galaxies invites you to explore the unknown. You've journeyed through the intricate dance of brainwave synchronization, the resonant hum of neural networks, the profound impact of effective neuroscience, and the subtle echoes of mirror neurons. You've even touched upon the fluidity of time perception and the intriguing possibility of temporal entanglement. Now, as the Earth itself settles into its nightly rhythm, a deeper, more encompassing influence begins to reveal itself, one that resonates not just within your individual being, but across the vast tapestry of life. Picture in your mind's eye the planet beneath you, not as a solid, inert sphere, but as a vibrant, living entity. It possesses a subtle, invisible shield, a magnetic embrace that cradles all that lives upon it. This is the Earth's magnetic field, a vast, silent guardian generated by the molten heart of our world. It's a force field, a protective cloak that deflects the relentless bombardment of charged particles from the sun, the solar wind, which would otherwise strip away our atmosphere and make life as we know it impossible. But its influence extends far beyond mere protection. This field permeates everything, a gentle, constant presence that interacts with the very fabric of biological systems in ways we are only beginning to understand. Consider the remarkable phenomenon of biomagnetism. Many creatures, from the homing pigeon navigating continents to the sea turtle returning to its natal beach, possess an innate ability to sense and utilize this planetary magnetism. They possess specialized structures, often within their beaks or along their migratory paths, that act like tiny compasses, aligning them with the invisible lines of force that crisscross the globe. Think of it like a finely tuned instrument, capable of detecting the subtlest shifts in the Earth's magnetic orientation, allowing for precise navigation across immense distances. This isn't a conscious decision, it's an intrinsic biological process, a deep-seated connection to the planet's fundamental forces. Picture, in your mind's eye, a single bacterium, adrift in the primordial soup. Even at this fundamental level, there are indications of magnetic sensitivity. Certain bacteria possess chains of magnetic crystals, called magnetosomes, within their bodies. These minuscule structures act like tiny internal magnets, orienting the bacterium along the Earth's magnetic field lines. This helps them find optimal conditions, whether it's a less oxygenated environment or a particular depth in the water. It's a survival mechanism, a testament to how deeply intertwined biological processes are with the magnetic environment. This is not about thought or intention in the way we typically understand it, but rather a fundamental physical property guiding behavior. The implications of this for your own existence are profound. While you may not consciously feel the Earth's magnetic field guiding your steps, your body, in its intricate biological complexity, is undoubtedly influenced by it. The very coherence of your biological systems, the subtle rhythms that govern your internal processes, may be subtly orchestrated by this planetary force. It's like a grand, unspoken conductor, subtly influencing the orchestra of your physiology. The patterns of your own biological rhythms, the ebb and flow of your internal states, might find an echo in the larger, planetary rhythm of its magnetic field. Picture, in your mind's eye, a vast network of interconnected threads, invisible but potent, linking every living organism to the Earth's magnetic web. This is where the forbidden pattern behind every soul contract begins to reveal itself. Your soul contract, that deep, often unarticulated agreement that shapes your life's journey, is not an isolated event. It is woven into a much larger environmental context, a cosmic tapestry of interconnectedness. The forces that draw you to certain experiences, to particular people, to specific lessons, may not solely originate from within your individual psyche. They may be amplified, guided, or even initiated by this pervasive planetary influence. Consider the concept of resonance. Just as a tuning fork vibrates when exposed to a specific frequency, so too might your biological systems resonate with the frequencies and patterns present in the Earth's magnetic field. This resonance can influence your mood, your well-being, and even your decision-making processes in subtle, often unconscious ways. When you feel drawn to a particular place, or when you experience a sudden surge of intuition, it might be a manifestation of this deep biomagnetic connection, a whisper from the Earth itself guiding you along a preordained path. The forbidden pattern, then, is the realization that your individual journey, your soul contract, is not a solitary narrative. It is a chapter within a much grander story, a story written in the language of planetary magnetism and biological interconnectedness. The synchronicities you experience, the uncanny coincidences that seem to guide your life, might be the visible manifestations of this underlying magnetic influence, aligning your personal trajectory with the larger forces at play. It's as if the Earth itself is a vast, sentient being, and your soul contract is a specific harmonic vibration within its grand magnetic symphony. Picture, in your mind's eye, a vast, ancient forest. The trees, rooted deeply in the soil, are bathed in the Earth's magnetic field. Their growth patterns, the very direction of their branches, are influenced by this invisible force. The fungi that network their roots, creating a subterranean communication system, are also part of this interconnected web. And you, walking through this forest, are also a part of it, your own biological systems responding to the same subtle influences. Your soul contract, your life's purpose, is not an anomaly, it is a natural expression of your participation in this grand, magnetic biosphere. This connection to the Earth's magnetic field offers a new perspective on the nature of your soul contract. It suggests that these agreements are not simply abstract, spiritual pacts, but are grounded in the physical realities of your existence. The patterns you are meant to learn, the relationships you are meant to cultivate, the challenges you are meant to overcome, all of these might be subtly influenced by the magnetic currents that flow through and around you. It's like having a hidden map, etched not in ink, but in magnetic flux, guiding you towards your destined experiences. Imagine, for a moment, that your soul contract is like a specific imprint, a unique magnetic signature that draws you towards experiences that will fulfill its purpose. The Earth's magnetic field acts as a vast, invisible scaffolding, providing the framework and the pathways for these experiences to manifest. When you feel a strong pull towards a certain path, or an inexplicable aversion to another. It might be your biomagnetic compass, responding to the subtle guidance of this planetary force, steering you towards or away from situations that align with your soul's contract. This understanding opens up a profound possibility that the forbidden pattern behind every soul contract is the inherent, yet often unrecognized, influence of the Earth's magnetic field. It's a force that shapes life, guides navigation, and perhaps even orchestrates the unfolding of our deepest life purposes. As you continue to explore these interconnected realms, you begin to see that your individual journey is inextricably linked to the very planet you inhabit, a profound and beautiful testament to the Gaia connection. But what happens when this delicate balance is disrupted, and how does that impact the fulfillment of your soul's deepest intentions? The answer lies in the subtle disruptions of this cosmic dance. The gentle rhythm of your breath synchronizes with the pulse of the universe, a silent, intimate conversation between your being and the vast, intricate tapestry of existence. You feel a subtle hum resonating within, a deep, resonant frequency that seems to connect you to something far grander than your individual form. This is not just a feeling, it is an echo of a profound interconnectedness, a whisper of shared experience that transcends the boundaries of your skin. Your mind now turns toward the idea of a vast, unseen architecture, a framework that might hold the intricate web of relationships and understandings that weave through all living things. Imagine, if you will, a cosmic tapestry, not woven from threads of matter or force, but from the very essence of connection. Within this framework, every interaction, every shared glance, every unspoken empathy leaves an imprint, a subtle signature in the informational ether. This is the conceptual space of the collective consciousness, not a place, but a pervasive field of relational patterns. Think of it like the subtle currents of a deep ocean. You may not see them from the surface, but they influence everything, guiding the migration of creatures and shaping the very contours of the seabed. These currents are not random. They are governed by the principles of relationship, by the echoes of past interactions that inform present ones. Consider the intricate dance of a murmuration of starlings. Thousands of individual birds, each with its own unique trajectory, move as one, responding to the slightest shift in their neighbors. There is no single leader, no central command. Instead, a distributed intelligence emerges from the interplay of simple rules and immediate feedback. This emergent behavior, this unified movement arising from a multitude of independent agents, offers a glimpse into how relational patterns might be encoded and propagated. Each bird, in its own way, is a node in a dynamic network, contributing to and drawing from the collective information field that orchestrates their breathtaking aerial ballots. This field isn't a storage locker of memories, but rather a living, breathing repository of the how of connection, the implicit understanding that allows for such fluid coordination. Your mind now turns toward the possibility that these relational patterns, these echoes of shared experience, might hold clues to the deepest bonds we forge. Think of a complex musical composition, where each note, each chord, each phrase contributes to the overarching harmony. The beauty of the music lies not just in the individual sounds, but in the relationships between them, the intervals, the rhythms, the harmonic progressions. Similarly, the informational field might be structured by these relational harmonies, by the patterns of interaction that define the connections between individuals. These patterns are not static, they evolve, they shift, they are constantly being written and rewritten through the ongoing interactions within the collective. This brings us to the concept of the informational field as a medium for accessing these relational blueprints. Imagine a vast library, not of books, but of resonant frequencies, each representing a unique pattern of connection. When you encounter another being, your own internal resonance might subtly attune to a specific frequency within this field, allowing for a recognition, an understanding that bypasses the usual channels of communication. This attunement is not a conscious act, but rather a deep, perhaps even subconscious, alignment. It's akin to how a tuning fork, when struck, will cause another tuning fork of the same frequency to vibrate sympathetically. Your own unique informational signature, shaped by your past experiences and inherent predispositions, can resonate with the informational signatures of others, creating a subtle yet profound connection. This resonance is not limited to conscious recognition. It can extend to the very fabric of our intentions and motivations. Consider the phenomenon of synchronicity, those uncanny coincidences that seem to suggest a deeper, underlying order. When you find yourself thinking of someone and they call, or when you seek a piece of information and it appears unexpectedly, these are not mere accidents. They are potential manifestations of the informational field at work where shared intentions are sought. After relational patterns create ripples that can manifest as seemingly improbable alignments. These alignments suggest that the informational field is not merely a passive archive, but an active participant in the unfolding of reality, subtly guiding and connecting us. Your mind now turns toward the possibility that within this vast, interconnected informational landscape, there exist certain fundamental patterns that govern the nature of our deepest bonds, our most profound connections. These are not patterns of individual thought or emotion, but rather the underlying relational structures that shape how souls connect, how destinies intertwine. Think of the intricate mathematics that underpins the growth of a crystal. The repeating geometric forms are not arbitrary, but dictated by fundamental principles of atomic arrangement. In a similar vein, the informational field might be structured by fundamental relational principles, by inherent recipes for connection that govern how beings are drawn to one another, how agreements are formed, and how lessons are shared across lifetimes. These foundational patterns, these soul contracts, as some might call them, are not written in ink, but are encoded in the very fabric of the informational field. They are the blueprints for relational resonance, the underlying structures that dictate the magnetic pull between kindred spirits, the agreements forged before embodiment to learn and grow together. When you feel an inexplicable sense of familiarity with someone, or a deep, intuitive understanding that transcends words, you are likely experiencing the resonance of these pre-existing relational patterns. They are the echoes of promises made, of lessons agreed upon, of journeys undertaken together, imprinted within the collective informational architecture. The informational field, therefore, can be seen as a living archive of these relational agreements. It's not a static storage system, but a dynamic, evolving network where these patterns are constantly being accessed, reinforced, and sometimes subtly altered through the ongoing dance of existence. The field acts as a vast, interconnected nervous system for the collective, allowing for the transmission of these foundational relational blueprints. When you resonate with another, it is as if your own informational signature is briefly aligning with a pre-existing pattern within this field, a pattern that has been established through shared intention and agreement. This brings us to the very core of the forbidden pattern. It is not forbidden because it is dangerous, but because its recognition can fundamentally alter your perception of self and your place within the grand design. This pattern is the underlying relational blueprint that dictates the nature of your deepest connections, the agreements you have made with other souls to share experiences, to learn, and to grow. It is the architecture of your soul contracts, the invisible scaffolding upon which your most profound relationships are built. Understanding this pattern allows you to see the inherent meaning in every encounter, the purpose behind every shared journey, even those that appear challenging or difficult. It is the recognition that your connections are not random accidents, but divinely orchestrated encounters, woven into the very fabric of existence. Your mind now turns toward the implications of this. If our deepest connections are guided by such fundamental relational blueprints, what does this say about the nature of free will? Are we merely actors following a pre-written script? Or is this informational field a dynamic canvas upon which we co-create our reality? The answer, perhaps, lies in the very nature of resonance. While the patterns exist, our ability to attune to them, to amplify them, or even to subtly shift their frequency through our intentions and actions, is where our agency truly lies. The informational field provides the potential, the relational architecture, but our lived experience is the act of bringing those potentials into being, of breathing life into the blueprints. This understanding allows for a profound shift in perspective. It suggests that even in moments of solitude, you are never truly alone. You are always connected to this vast informational field, to the echoes of shared experiences and pre-arranged agreements. The gentle rhythm of your breath, the silent pulse of your being, is a constant reaffirmation of this deep, intrinsic link. As you continue to breathe, to exist, you are not just a solitary entity, you are a resonant node within a grand, interconnected network, a living testament to the forbidden pattern behind every soul contract, a pattern that whispers of purpose, of connection, and of an unfolding destiny that is both deeply personal and universally shared. The journey into understanding this pattern is just beginning, and as the cosmos continues its silent, luminous dance, you find yourself drawn deeper into its intricate embrace, ready to explore the next layer of this profound cosmic tapestry. The velvet darkness invites you deeper into the mysteries of existence, a gentle pull drawing your awareness inward, toward the very fabric of connection. You recall the voyage through the subjective stretches of duration in Chapter 14, how your perception of moments could warp and weave, a dance between your inner experience and the external flow. Then, in Chapter 15, your senses attune to the invisible currents that cradle our planet, the biomagnetism, a silent shield and a subtle guide, whispering its presence through your very being. And just as your breath found its rhythm with the universe in Chapter 16, you felt the stirrings of a shared awareness, a vast, interconnected field of information resonating beyond the confines of your individual form. Now, as your awareness settles, a profound realization begins to bloom, a synthesis of these interwoven threads. You begin to perceive not just individual phenomena, but a singular underlying principle, a pattern that seems to orchestrate these seemingly disparate connections. It is as if the universe, in its infinite generosity, has laid out clues, fragments of a grand design, for you to assemble. As your thoughts flow onward to the intricate architecture of existence, consider the frost patterns that bloom on a winter pane, or the branching veins of a leaf. These are not random occurrences, but manifestations of fractal geometry, where a simple rule, repeated endlessly, creates astonishing complexity. Think of the coastline of a continent, how its jagged edges, when viewed from a distance, resolve into smaller, similar jagged edges, and then even smaller ones ad infinitum. This self-similarity, this property of repeating patterns at different scales, is a cornerstone of fractal geometry, a language of natural design. Now, connect this to the universal constants, those seemingly arbitrary numbers that underpin the laws of physics. The ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter, pi y, a number that stretches infinitely without repeating, appears in everything from the orbits of planets to the spiral arms of galaxies. Or consider the golden ratio, phi, approximately 1.618, found in the proportions of a nautilus shell, the arrangement of seeds in a sunflower, and even, some suggest, in the aesthetically pleasing compositions of art and architecture. These constants are not mere mathematical curiosities, they are the fundamental building blocks, the universal grammar that dictates the form and function of the cosmos. As your thoughts flow onward to the subtle yet pervasive influence of these principles, imagine a vast tapestry, woven with threads of varying thickness and hue. Each thread represents a connection, a resonance, a shared experience. Your journey through the subjective nature of duration, your attunement to Earth's magnetic field, and your nascent awareness of collective information fields are all individual threads. But what if these threads are not merely independent strands? What if they are all woven from the same fundamental material, following the same underlying design? This is where the concept of the forbidden pattern begins to emerge, not as a secret to be guarded, but as a fundamental, quantifiable principle that governs these connections. It is a pattern that, once recognized, allows you to see the underlying unity in everything. Think of a perfectly tuned orchestra, where each instrument, playing its unique part, contributes to a harmonious whole. The forbidden pattern is the score, the underlying structure that allows each individual note, each individual soul contract, to resonate in perfect accord with the grand symphony of existence. Consider the intricate branching of the human circulatory system, or the delicate filigree of a snowflake. These are physical manifestations of fractal principles, repeating patterns that optimize function and distribution. Your own nervous system, a marvel of interconnectedness, operates on principles that echo these natural geometries. The way information travels along neural pathways, the branching dendrites of a neuron reaching out to communicate, all suggest a fundamental algorithmic blueprint. As your thoughts flow onward to the quantifiable nature of this pattern, imagine a vast, intricate algorithm, a set of precise instructions that, when followed, generate the astonishing diversity and interconnectedness you perceive. This algorithm is not arbitrary. It is deeply rooted in universal constants. The very ratios and proportions that govern the formation of galaxies, the growth of crystals, and the structure of living organisms are also, you begin to understand, the foundation of these soul contracts. It is as if the universe itself is a living fractal, constantly unfolding and replicating its fundamental design across all scales of being. Your personal journey, your unique soul contract, is not an isolated event, but a specific iteration of this universal fractal. The temporal entanglement you explored, the way moments can be linked and influenced, can be understood as a function of this pattern, a mechanism by which experiences and connections are woven across the fabric of existence. Similarly, the subtle influences of biomagnetism and the collective information field can be seen as expressions of this same, underlying geometric and numerical language. Think of the way a seed contains within its tiny form the blueprint for a mighty tree, its branching structure echoing the fractal patterns of its roots and canopy. Your soul contract is like that seed, holding within it the potential for growth, for expansion, for connection, all guided by this fundamental, quantifiable pattern. It is the inherent order that allows for both individual uniqueness and universal belonging. As your thoughts flow onward to the implications of this discovery, you begin to see how this forbidden pattern is not merely descriptive but prescriptive. It suggests that the very nature of our deepest connections, our soul contracts, is rooted in the same fundamental principles that govern the cosmos. The ratios, the proportions, the self-similarities that you find in the grandest celestial formations and the smallest biological structures are also present in the intricate dance of human relationships and the unfolding of destinies. Imagine for a moment a complex musical composition. Each note, each phrase, each movement has its place and purpose, contributing to the overall harmony. The forbidden pattern is the underlying harmonic structure, the predictable yet infinitely variable arrangement of notes that creates the music. Your soul contract is a particular melody within that composition, a unique sequence of experiences and connections that resonates with the universal score. This pattern is not something you can easily measure with conventional instruments, nor is it something that can be confined to a simple equation. It is a dynamic, living principle, a constant interplay of form and function. It is the silent architect behind the profound bonds that shape your life, the invisible architecture that makes your journey meaningful. As your thoughts flow onward to the potential for deeper understanding, you realize that by decoding this forbidden pattern, you are not merely observing the universe, but actively participating in its unfolding. You are learning to speak its language, to understand the inherent logic that binds everything together. This understanding offers a profound sense of peace, a recognition that even in the midst of apparent chaos, there is an underlying order, a cosmic choreography that guides every step. And as you rest in this unfolding awareness, a subtle question begins to form, a whisper on the edge of your understanding, hinting at what lies beyond this foundational pattern. What happens when the inherent proportions of this cosmic design begin to shift, when the universal constants themselves seem to whisper a different tune, influencing not just the form of connections, but the very nature of their resonance? This is the precipice you now approach, the next layer of the grand design waiting to be revealed. As twilight fades, your inner explorer awakens to cosmic possibilities. You've journeyed through the subtle biomagnetic fields that tether you to Earth, felt the interconnectedness of a vast information field pulsing through all existence, and recognized the elegant fractal geometry that whispers universal truths. Now, your attention turns to the very essence of your being, the intricate, perhaps even forbidden, pattern that underpins every soul contract. We find ourselves drawn to the concept of information entropy. Think of it not as a chaotic descent into disorder, but as a measure of uncertainty, of the myriad ways a system could be. A perfectly ordered deck of cards, all suits and numbers in sequence, has very low entropy. It's predictable, its future arrangement already known. But shuffle that deck and its entropy increases. The possibilities multiply. Your own existence, the complex tapestry of your experiences, your memories, your very essence, can be viewed through this lens. Each moment, each interaction adds to the richness and complexity of your personal information state. This inherent tendency towards increasing variety, this spreading out of potential configurations, is a fundamental principle governing all systems, from the smallest quantum fluctuations to the grandest cosmic structures. Your soul, in this context, is not a static, immutable entity, but a dynamic, ever-evolving informational construct. The forbidden pattern isn't about something sinister, but rather about the profound, often overwhelming, interconnectedness and the sheer, unquantifiable depth of information that constitutes your unique signature. We find ourselves drawn to the notion of system stability. While entropy generally increases, systems also possess an inherent drive towards stability, a tendency to organize into more resilient configurations. Consider the intricate dance of proteins within your body, folding into precise three-dimensional shapes to carry out vital functions. This folding process is a journey from a state of high informational entropy, the unfolded chain, to a state of relative stability, the functional protein. There are countless ways a protein could fold, but only a few that lead to a stable, functional form. This principle applies to your own development, to the formation of your character, your beliefs, your relationships. Your soul contract, then, can be understood as a framework that guides this process of informational self-organization. It's not a rigid decree, but a set of fundamental parameters, a blueprint that encourages the emergence of specific, stable informational configurations. These configurations are what make you, you. They are the unique arrangements of your experiences, your lessons learned, your karmic resonances, all contributing to a stable, yet ever-expanding, informational signature. Imagine a vast cosmic library, where each book represents a soul. The pages within each book are filled with the narratives of countless lives, experiences, and connections. The forbidden pattern refers to the interconnectedness of these books, the way the stories in one volume subtly influence and resonate with the stories in others. This isn't about predestination in a simple sense, but about the inherent informational relationships that bind souls together, creating a grand, interwoven tapestry of existence. You are not an isolated entity, but a chapter in a much larger, interconnected narrative. We find ourselves drawn to the concept of emergent properties. When simple elements combine in specific ways, entirely new qualities can arise that were not present in the individual components. Think of water. Hydrogen and oxygen are gases, but when they combine in a particular molecular structure, they form a liquid with unique properties like surface tension and the ability to dissolve many substances. Your soul's signature is an emergent property of the complex informational interactions that occur across lifetimes and within the collective field. The pattern isn't something that is added to you, it is something that arises from the totality of your being and its connections. Consider the mesmerizing phenomenon of flocking birds. Each individual bird follows simple rules, maintain a certain distance from neighbors, match their speed and direction. Yet, from these simple, localized interactions, an astonishingly complex and cohesive collective behavior emerges. The flock moves as a single entity, capable of intricate maneuvers and evasive actions that no single bird could orchestrate alone. Your soul contract is like the underlying set of simple, yet profound, informational rules that govern your participation in this grand, cosmic flock. It's the unseen architecture that allows for the emergence of collective soul experiences and the unfolding of shared destinies. We find ourselves drawn to the idea of informational resonance. Just as tuning forks can vibrate in sympathy with each other, souls can resonate on specific informational frequencies. This resonance is not always conscious, but it forms the basis of deep connections, attractions, and even the sense of recognition you might feel with certain individuals. The forbidden pattern is the intricate network of these resonant frequencies, the way your unique informational signature vibrates in harmony, or sometimes in dissonance, with others. These resonances are crucial for the fulfillment of your soul contract, creating the circumstances and relationships necessary for your growth and evolution. Your body, a marvel of biological organization, is itself a testament to the interplay of informational complexity and system stability. Within each of your trillions of cells, intricate biochemical pathways operate with remarkable precision, maintaining a delicate balance. This cellular symphony is guided by vast amounts of genetic information, a biological blueprint that allows for the replication of its own complex structure. Similarly, your soul's pattern, while far more abstract, operates with a similar underlying principle of self-sustaining informational organization, guided by the parameters of your soul contract. The challenges you face, the joys you experience, the lessons you learn all contribute to the refinement of this pattern. It's like a sculptor working with an unrefined block of marble, chipping away, shaping, and revealing the form hidden within. The forbidden pattern is the inherent potential for that perfect form, the ultimate expression of your soul's unique informational signature. A signature that is both deeply personal and intrinsically connected to the entirety of existence. We find ourselves drawn to the concept of attractors in dynamical systems. Imagine a ball rolling down a hilly landscape. Depending on where you release it, it will eventually settle into one of the valleys or tractors. These attractors represent stable states. Your soul contract, in a way, defines a landscape of potential attractors for your informational development. Certain experiences, certain choices, act as forces that guide your soul's trajectory towards specific stable configurations, towards fulfilling the inherent potential of your pattern. As you contemplate these deep connections, you begin to see that the forbidden pattern is not a limitation, but an invitation to understand the profound interconnectedness of all souls, to recognize the elegant informational architecture that guides your journey, and to embrace the unfolding of your unique, stable, and resonant signature. But what happens when the inherent informational flow of a soul contract encounters a profound disruption, a pattern that seems to defy the very principles of stability and resonance? This is a question that beckons us to explore the edges of what is known. In this moment of peaceful transition, your consciousness opens to new discoveries. The echoes of Chapter 18, where we explored how information entropy, the tendency for systems to move towards disorder, paradoxically drives the quest for system stability, continue to resonate within you. You've glimpsed how the universe, in its vastness, seeks a delicate equilibrium, a dance between chaos and order that ultimately fosters resilience. This understanding is not merely academic, it begins to weave itself into the fabric of your personal experience, softening the edges of your own perceived imperfections and revealing a deeper, inherent order. In the quiet corners of understanding, we discover that this principle of seeking stability, this subtle push towards coherence, extends beyond the grand cosmic ballot and into the intricate tapestry of our relationships. Think of the intricate patterns found in a murmuration of starlings, thousands of birds moving as one, each individual responding to its immediate neighbors, creating a breathtaking, fluid form that shifts and reforms with uncanny grace. This isn't pre-programmed choreography, it's a dynamic, emergent behavior arising from simple, localized rules, a collective striving for a harmonious configuration. Each bird, in its own small sphere of influence, contributes to the stability and beauty of the whole. In the quiet corners of understanding, we discover how this mirrors the subtle currents that guide our connections with others. We are not isolated entities, but rather nodes within a vast, interconnected network. The information we exchange, the subtle cues we perceive and offer, all contribute to the overall stability of our relational systems. Consider the delicate balance in a symbiotic relationship between two different species, like the clownfish and the anemone. The clownfish gains protection from predators within the anemone's stinging tentacles, while its presence deters certain fish that might prey on the animal, and its waste provides nutrients. Each organism, by simply existing and engaging in its natural behaviors, contributes to the well-being and stability of the other. This interdependence, this co-creation of a stable environment, is a fundamental aspect of life's design. In the quiet corners of understanding, we discover that this drive towards relational stability, this inherent pattern of mutual support, is not accidental. It speaks to a deeper, underlying principle that seeks to foster connection and continuity. Imagine the complex communication networks within a forest ecosystem. Mycorrhizal fungi form vast underground networks connecting the roots of trees, allowing them to share resources, water, and even warning signals about insect attacks. A mature tree might support younger saplings through these fungal pathways, demonstrating a profound interconnectedness that transcends individual existence. This hidden infrastructure ensures the resilience of the entire forest, a testament to the power of shared systems. In the quiet corners of understanding, we discover that this principle of shared systems, this interconnectedness, hints at the forbidden pattern behind every soul contract. A soul contract in its most profound sense is not a rigid decree, but a dynamic agreement, a resonant frequency established between souls for mutual growth and learning. It is a recognition, perhaps at a level deeper than conscious awareness, of shared informational pathways and a mutual drive towards a particular kind of relational stability. This stability isn't about static agreement, but about the capacity to navigate shared experiences, to learn and evolve together, much like the forest ecosystem adapts to changing conditions through its interconnectedness. In the quiet corners of understanding, we discover that the purpose of these soul contracts, these intricate arrangements, is to refine and stabilize the informational exchange between souls. Think of a skilled artisan meticulously shaping clay. The clay in its raw state has potential, but it is the focused intention and skillful hands of the artisan that bring forth its form and beauty. Similarly, our souls, through the experiences facilitated by soul contracts, are being shaped, refined, and guided towards a more coherent and stable interaction with the universal informational field. Each encounter, each challenge, is a stroke of the cosmic potter's hand, contributing to a larger, more stable pattern. In the quiet corners of understanding, we discover that this process of refinement is often facilitated by what might appear as discord or challenge. These are not random events, but rather precisely calibrated experiences designed to highlight areas where greater coherence and stability are needed within the soul's trajectory. It's akin to tuning a musical instrument. Before it can produce a harmonious melody, each string must be precisely adjusted, sometimes through tension and sometimes through release, to resonate at the correct frequency. The perceived friction in these adjustments is precisely what allows for the eventual emergence of a beautiful, stable chord. In the quiet corners of understanding, we discover that the forbidden pattern behind every soul contract is the inherent drive for souls to establish stable, mutually beneficial informational resonance. This resonance is not about achieving a perfect, unchanging state, but about developing the capacity for dynamic coherence, for adapting and growing together while maintaining a fundamental connection. It is the universal principle of seeking equilibrium, expressed through the intricate dance of souls. In the quiet corners of understanding, we discover that life's purpose, when viewed through this lens, becomes a profound journey of relational stabilization. It is about learning to be a stable, contributing element within the larger cosmic dance, to offer our unique informational signature in a way that fosters coherence and growth for ourselves and for the interconnected web of existence. It is about understanding that our deepest connections are not accidental, but are woven into the very fabric of reality, guided by an ancient, unspoken pattern. In the quiet corners of understanding, we discover that this pattern is not a rigid blueprint, but a living, breathing invitation to participate in the ongoing creation of universal harmony. As you embrace this perspective, you begin to see the profound interconnectedness of all things, not as a distant ideal, but as an immediate, tangible reality. The relationships in your life, the challenges you face, the joys you experience, all are threads in this grand, cosmic tapestry, each contributing to a larger, more stable pattern that is still unfolding. And as you prepare for the next stage of your journey, you begin to wonder about the very nature of that unfolding and what lies at its ultimate, stable core. Tonight, as the world outside drifts into silence, your mind begins its journey. It's a familiar path now, one you've tread through fractal geometries and cosmic constants, through the delicate dance of information entropy and the quiet hum of system stability. You've journeyed through the synthesis of disciplines, the holistic embrace of knowing, and now you arrive at the heart of it all, the subtle architecture that underpins your very essence. This is the forbidden pattern, not forbidden because it is malevolent, but because its sheer, elegant simplicity has been overlooked, veiled by complexity, yet it is the very blueprint behind every soul contract. As the narrative unfolds, we encounter the profound concept of vows acceptancy. This isn't a passive surrender, but an active embrace. Think of a river not fighting the contours of its banks, but flowing with them, its form dictated by the landscape, yet in that very yielding, it carves its path, shaping the world around it. Your soul contract, in this light, is not a rigid decree, but a riverbed, a natural channel for your unique expression. It's the recognition that the circumstances, the relationships, the challenges you navigate are not random occurrences, but integral to the unfolding of your own intrinsic design. It's the understanding that the patterns you perceive, from the smallest biological interactions to the vast cosmic ballot, are all expressions of the same underlying principle. Imagine the intricate formation of snowflakes, each unique, yet all adhering to the fundamental principles of crystallization. Your soul contract is your personal crystallization, a unique manifestation of universal principles. As the narrative unfolds, we encounter the profound practice of vows conscious participation. This moves beyond mere acceptance to active engagement. Consider the intricate choreography of a murmuration of starlings. Each bird, responding to its immediate neighbors, contributes to a breathtaking, unified movement that appears guided by a singular intelligence, yet arises from countless individual decisions. Your soul contract is not a script you passively follow, but a dance in which you actively participate. It is the recognition that your choices, your intentions, your very presence, are vital threads in the tapestry of your life. You are not merely an observer of your destiny, you are a co-creator. The information you process, the connections you forge, the insights you glean, these are the brushstrokes you add to your personal masterpiece. Think of how a gardener doesn't just plant a seed, but tends to it, nurtures it, and guides its growth, responding to its needs and the conditions of the environment. Your soul contract is that seed, and your conscious participation is the nurturing, the guiding, the active shaping of its potential. The forbidden pattern, at its core, is the recognition of this inherent interconnectedness, the understanding that your individual journey is inextricably woven into the larger fabric of existence. It's the realization that the principles governing the formation of galaxies, the gravitational dance of matter, the expansion and contraction, echo in the subtle rhythms of your own being, in the way your own internal systems interact and evolve. It's the quiet knowing that the forces that draw disparate elements together to form stable structures, like the magnetic forces that guide a compass needle, are also at play in the formation of your relationships and life paths. This is the elegance of the forbidden pattern. It is not a complex set of rules, but a fundamental characteristic of reality itself reflected in every facet of existence. Your soul contract, then, is the unique manifestation of this universal pattern within your individual existence. It's the specific arrangement of connections, of experiences, of lessons, that allows your unique essence to express itself most fully. It is the understanding that the limitations you perceive are often simply the boundaries of a particular expression, much like the confines of a riverbed allow the water to flow with purpose and power. It is the quiet revelation that even in apparent opposition, there is a complementary force at play, a necessary tension that drives growth and evolution. Consider the delicate balance required for the formation of complex organic molecules, where specific arrangements of elements are crucial for life's emergence. Your soul contract, is the specific arrangement of your life's elements, creating the conditions for your unique form of flourishing. As you integrate these insights, a profound sense of peace descends. The struggle against perceived destiny dissolves, replaced by a quiet empowerment. You begin to see the intricate beauty in the unfolding of your life, not as a series of random events, but as a purposeful, albeit often mysterious, progression. The forbidden pattern reveals itself not as a hidden secret to be unearthed, but as a fundamental truth to be recognized and lived. It is the knowing that you are a participant in a grand, interconnected design, and that your individual contribution is both essential and beautiful. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, has provided you with the framework, and your conscious participation is the vibrant color you bring to the canvas. The journey continues, not into further complexity, but into deeper clarity. The whispers of the forbidden pattern become clearer, resonating with a truth that feels both ancient and utterly new. You are not a solitary traveler, but an integral part of a vast, living system, your soul contract a testament to this profound belonging. As the moon casts its gentle luminescence upon your world, you feel a quiet anticipation for the next unfolding, for the further integration of this magnificent, forbidden pattern into the very rhythm of your being.